Security questions.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Strictly Sports. I am B Wise.
I'm Miles.
And your boy Trigger.
And we're joined by a special guest.
We got a special guest. Are we live? It still says scheduled at the top of the screen.
Yeah, we live. It's live now. It's been live 22 seconds.
I got you. All right.
So I'm
And we got
the special guest.
Yes, special
guest.
guest. You are our first official guest on the show. Everybody watching out there. We got retired Master Sergeant Lamar Benefield in the building with us tonight. Getting his thoughts about our lowly Dallas Cowboys. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be on the show. Looking forward to it. Definitely always good to talk some sports, you know.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, and my team ain't doing so well, so we'll get into it. All right. So let me get y'all going. First topic: Lions go into Dallas and beat the Cowboys 47-9. Let me get y'all initial thoughts on that as Cowboy fans.
Me being silent is my initial thought. I refuse to talk about them. So that's my thought.
Boys protesting right now on strike.
Yeah.
You a Cowboys fan?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm all yeah. My thoughts on it is coaching matters. You know, I mean, obviously the players on the field, they're playing the game, but they got to be ready for the moment. And in spite of the injuries and all of the, keep missing players, I think you have to take a hard look at the owner with what he's doing or haven't been doing or how he goes about doing things. I think that impacts the team. I think it impacts the people in the organization that's afraid to stand up to him, say what needs to be said, for him to take a step back, do what needs to be done. If you truly want to win, if you say you all in, I think your actions will, would easily show that, but it doesn't, and I think the hole that we're in is I don't want to put all the blame on Jerry, but he has a lot to do with where the Cowboys currently are. We didn't do anything for the offseason, didn't really pick up anybody to make the team better. We lost some starters, during the offseason. So, how do you replace that? Coaching, the type of coach, you need a certain type of coach to coach in Dallas, because there's a lot of pressure to come with wearing that star on. That's not your average, everyday football team. Even for as great as the Patriots were, they're still not America's team. The Cowboys is that team for real, and you got to have the right coach, the right mindset to demand discipline. All the penalties, just the creativeness, all of that's missing. Yeah, man, McCarthy is not the dude for that job. That's kind of my take on it. If I look at the coach, the owner, and even Dak to some degree, getting all the money that he's getting, being there for many years, he's been there, he haven't produced anything. A la Patrick Mahomes is that dude. I don't care how you slice it and dice it, that guy's ready for the moment.
So my question is, if Mike McCarthy is not the right coach, who do you think is? You don't mind me asking?
Yeah, well, I don't really know who's out there besides Bill Belichick. And again, I think back to, not trying to live in the past, but, I think back to a Jimmy Johnson, that the guy that had that, that attitude, that didn't mind, hey, face the players when it needed to be done, force them to discipline, you know what I'm saying? Demanding, hey, either you're going to come out here and perform or you're going to go take a seat over here on the bench. That's what's missing. We had, Jason Garrett way too long. Nice guy. I like Jason Garrett. But, as a head coach, in Dallas, no. That's not the deal. So, knowing who's on the market out there, I don't really know who's on the market outside of a big name like, Bill Belichick. I know what's his name when he was with New York. What's my man name? Was it Rex? He didn't do so well, but he did a great team either. But his mindset, I think, was fit, in Dallas. Just off the top of my head, just thinking about somebody that's going to bring that certain attitude to the team, that's going to demand that these guys get out here and play, and whether to consider the Cowboys soft or not, man, they play like it. Not only on Sunday against the Lions. Come on, look at what they did with the Saints. Look at what happened with Baltimore. All of these physical teams, they were overpowered and outmatched big time. They come with the attitude ready to play. We was defeated in the first quarter. First couple of drives, you can look at this, you can see the look on their faces. They were defeated early. Wasn't ready. Coaching matters.
I agree. It seems like in every big game, they don't never seem prepared. They come out flat, and then they want to play catch-up ball in the fourth quarter. Be down by 20 points and then try to, then they want to play their best ball in the fourth quarter. It don't work like that. The other team, they get paid millions of dollars too. So it just seems like it's a redundant story year after year. So that's why I just, I don't really pay them no mind anymore. If they win, cool. But I don't really expect nothing much from them. Like you said, until the top dog, which is Jerry Jones, either make some changes or what. But, the thing of it is, when Jerry leaves, his son's going to take over. Where did his son learn everything from? The Jones family is not going to leave. They're not going to sell that Cowboy franchise, in my opinion. But, you never know.
Yeah, so
I was just gonna say real quick, hey, they need a general manager in there. They need to get the right coaching staff in there, because we've had some good teams over the years. We've had a lot of talent in Dallas, man, and have won absolutely nothing. That's where I say, the coaching, man, it matters. Jerry need to get out of his own way, and I would hope that Stephen Jones would, pick up on that and say, okay, hey, when I take this team over, I'm gonna do it a little bit different. We're gonna hire a GM. We're gonna let these players that get these people, put them in the right position to get paid, for the money to do. Let them do what they need to do. You still get the credit for winning as an owner, but Jerry is just trying to act like he wants all the credit. He want to be the coach, want to be the face of the franchise in the camera all the time. Just get out the way and let's win some championships. We've squandered a lot of good teams over the past couple of years, over the past decade, really.
One more question, Trick, I want to ask, and I'll let you go. So, Mr. Benefield, you bring a presence when you walk in the room. Like, when you walk in the room, people know you are there. So, with a presence like yourself, could you work for someone like Jerry? Would you want to coach a team that's owned by Jerry Jones?
No, he's got to let me be able to do what I need to do to motivate and inspire guys, to win. And oftentimes that's not being a nice guy all the time. Sometimes you got to meet people where they are. You heard it said many times, Cowboys got these prima donna players, they in it for the money. They just want to get paid, all that type of stuff. And again, and not to say that, it's being disrespectful, because, they're all grown men here, and I'm not talking about disrespecting anybody, but, having the tough conversations that need to be had, get an individual to take a good hard look, at himself. So, hey, when he come out here, you got to come with it, or else we don't have any room for you. You got to take a back seat, find another team to go play for, but you don't fit in this particular culture that we're trying to do here. The culture is wrong in Dallas. It's all wrong. It's wrong. It's two left shoes. So, it's all about having, I couldn't coach for a guy like Jerry Jones, because you got to let me be able to do what I need to do. Like in the military, if my leadership above me is not going to allow me to run my organization where I see fit, then we're going to have a problem. As long as I'm not mistreating people, as long as I'm not abusing folks, but I'm doing what need to be done to get their attention, to inspire motivation. And sometimes you got to meet people, like I said, where they are. You might have to raise up just a little bit. But it ain't about trying to be, Billy Bad and all that type of stuff. But you got to get their attention. You got to let them know. You got to set the tone. You got to set the tone. And if you're not allowed to do that, then this is what we get. It's my perspective.
Thank you. All right, Trigger, the floor is yours.
Well, I think it's first of all, I'm just gonna say, excuse me ahead of time. My voice is a little shot. I've been battling allergies and stuff the last few days. On the up and up, but if I tend to lose my voice, go in and out here and there, whatever. Just
Be
bear
cheering for
with
them
me.
Cowboys.
No, I can assure you it didn't come from that. But anywho, I think it's a good thing, right? When the Cowboys play on Sunday and we got a couple of days before we do this podcast, because if I come on here right after the game, even the day after the game, I feel like my takes would be more emotional than logical. And I want to be really, really clear and concise when I give you guys my opinion. So thank goodness for that, first and foremost. So I had some time to kind of reflect on everything that's happened. And one, I can say that I'm not surprised that Dallas lost. I picked them to lose this game. I picked them to lose by a couple scores, maybe three scores. However, I did not see them losing 47-9. Like, that was not on the radar whatsoever. Now, I know we have all the injuries. Guys on the defense are hurt. We got guys on the offense that are out or banged up. And then personnel has already been an issue since the beginning of the year. Having really one receiver on offense, no running game, and the defense took a step back. So having that and then losing players and going up against a team like Detroit, who's complete in every aspect of the word, it was just a recipe for disaster for us. So the fact that Dallas lost the way that they did, it should be embarrassing. These guys had a 16-game winning streak at home. And if you go back to the playoff game last year at the Cowboys Stadium, starting with that game, Dallas has now lost their last four at home. Big. The Ravens game was close, but the score really wasn't uh, telling the whole story of how that game went. The Cowboys were down big at halftime in all four games, and all four games they lost. They dug themselves in too deep a hole for them to come back. So I don't know what's going on now. They can't play at home anymore. They can never beat good teams anyway to begin with. They beat up on all the bad teams. If you look at their record, they're 3-3. Who are the three wins against? Who are the three losses against? Now I feel bad that Saints loss is in there because of how they've been looking since the Cowboys game. But we did lose to Baltimore, and we did get boat raced by Detroit. Now the teams that we did beat: Cleveland, New York, Pittsburgh. Like, Pittsburgh's over 500, but I don't believe it. Like, how teams can have a record better than what they actually look like? That's what I feel like Pittsburgh is kind of like. Like a couple seasons ago when the Vikings went like 13-2 or something like that, and they got bounced in the first round of the playoffs at home by a wild card New York Giants team.
Philly
So,
last
like,
year.
yeah, so like I think that Pittsburgh, their record doesn't tell who they really are. So you got three wins right there against teams that we should beat, and we got three losses against teams that you know the Cowboys would lose to. In those losses, the Cowboys have been outgained on the ground. They've been getting not only outgained, but like nearly like teams coming in and running for nearly 200 yards on us, like easy. Guys are getting 7, 8 yards before they even get touched. Detroit averaged 10 yards a play in that last game. Think about that.
What?
Every play, exactly, every play they ran on average was a first down. 10 plus yards per play. Like, think about that number. And then we paid Dak $60 million a year, and he's on pace to have a career high in interceptions this season. He's already at six, and we're through 6 weeks. So he's averaging an interception a week. 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and his completion percentage is the second worst of his career through this point. The worst was in 2017. He was at 62.9% completion percentage, and this year he's at 63.4% so far. Now, obviously, has time to get those numbers up, but I believe those numbers are where they are because a lack of a receiving core, right? You got CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks got hurt. Jalen Tolbert, I'm still trying to figure him out. He's had moments where he's looked okay, that he could be a potential number two. But outside of those guys, who else we throwing to? Dak is forcing some balls into double and triple coverage to CD, and that's where most of his interceptions have come, trying to force the ball to CD in the end zone. Think about the Pittsburgh game last week. Had 2 turnovers in the red zone. One of them was trying to get the ball to CD Lamb. This week, he threw 2 interceptions. One got called back because of a holding penalty, and then a few plays later, ended up throwing it away to the other team anyway, trying to get the ball to CD Lamb in the corner of the end zone. So when you got those lack of weapons on the receiving end, and you're trying to force feed the ball to one guy, and CeeDee Lamb is getting frustrated. He has his diva-like moments. We see the interactions between him and Dak on the sideline. We see there's no chemistry. You got to take into account also that CeeDee Lamb didn't have a full training camp with Dak because he was holding out for the contract. So one could argue he's still trying to get his timing, his rhythm, the chemistry down with Dak through these first 6 weeks of the season. But because they have no other weapons and nobody else is important enough to account for opposing defenses, Dak is trying to force the ball to CeeDee Lamb, and as a result, he's on pace to have more turnovers, more interceptions than he's had in any other season in his career so far. So it's just a bad recipe for disaster all the way around. And what really makes me mad is the Cowboys never went out and got a running back. Like, you think about back in free agency earlier this year, the list of names that were available, talking Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift. I mean, a slew of running backs. Any one of those guys could have been in the backfield for Dallas. Easy. And some of them didn't even demand. I think Saquon Barkley was the only one that demanded some money that maybe the Cowboys probably couldn't have afforded him for. But Derrick Henry only wanted $8 million. And between Zeke Elliott and a couple other guys they signed, that $8 million could have went easily to Derrick Henry. And now we're watching these guys thrive with the teams that they're with. And the Cowboys have a washed up Zeke Elliott, Rico Dowdle, and Deuce Vaughn. And you went out and signed Dalvin Cook, and he's still on the practice squad. Why not bring him up?
Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs is 1 and 2 in the league in rushing yards.
There you go. And then I think who else? Zach Moss, who now is the starter for the Bengals. He was too expensive for us. Zach Moss was too expensive for Dallas. And Joe Mixon, he became available. He's another running back we could have scooped up. Nope. He decides, or the Texans decide to go scoop him up. So you got all these teams going around. They're going all in. They're making all the moves. Speaking of making moves, the Jets, the Bills, they go out and they get 2 of the best receivers in the game. Amari Cooper to the Bills, Devontae Adams to the Jets.
That's coming up later on, Trigger.
That just played. I know I'm kind of getting ahead of myself right now, but these are 2 teams, 2 division rivals, played a very tough Monday Night Football game a couple nights ago, and one team lost and decided, that's it. We fired our head coach. Let's go get Devontae Adams. And the Bills winning that game with the receivers that they have decided, hey, we need to be better. Amari Cooper's available. Let's go snatch him up. Like, these are the way these teams think that want to win, that are in win now mode, that say it and they do everything to match what they say. Jerry Jones says he wants to win. And emotionally, I think that he does. However, his actions do not match what he's saying. It doesn't match what he's trying to sell us. And I think the jig is up now. He went off on the little radio host on his little radio show yesterday, threatened to take their jobs and all that stuff. Why is that? He finally feels some responsibility and not doing what he was supposed to do. That's the only reason why he lashed out on those guys like that. He threatened their jobs. He needed to be threatening Mike McCarthy's job. He ain't saying nothing about Mike McCarthy. He ain't saying nothing about Mike McCarthy, but he's safe. Mike McCarthy's safe, given the work that he's done.
You think he's safe? You think he's safe?
Oh, absolutely, he's safe. Absolutely.
If Dan Quinn comes in and beats y'all, you think he's safe?
Absolutely, he's safe. It don't matter what happened. Something crazy
right now.
Something crazy has to happen for Jerry Jones to make a mid-season coaching fire. He hasn't done it. Excuse me. He hasn't done it since he fired Wade Phillips back in 09 2010 season when he put Jason Garrett as the interim coach and then later made him the head coach. So Jerry Jones is not a fan, or that's not his MO to fire a head coach mid-season. So Mike McCarthy's going to play this out. He's going to play himself out of a job, and then they'll get a new coach next year. But he's not making any changes this year. He's not going and getting any receivers, any running backs, any positions in need before the trade deadline. He's going to play with what he has for the rest of this season, and whatever the Cowboys do, they do. But don't expect anything from them. You know, they're going to come out. They got the next 5-6 games. They could lose all of them. And I guess it's very doable. They could lose the next 5 or 6 games. But Jerry's not going to make any changes. Don't get your hopes up. Don't get excited. I know the trade rumors are out there. I see, they're talking about Jacksonville potentially dealing Travis Etienne, and the Cowboys could be a good fit for him. They said the same thing with Devontae Adams when his name came up in the rumors. They said the same thing with Amari Cooper when his name came up in the rumors. They said the same thing about any player that hits the market. Dallas is in the mix. DeAndre Hopkins is another receiver that could potentially be traded given what Tennessee has done so far this season. But Dallas, I promise you, Dallas will not be in the mix for any name that comes up for any of these teams that are looking to sell before the trade deadline. Because it's Jerry Jones, and he does not do business that way. He has not done it that way in a long time, and he continues to do it that way. So I don't know why they keep producing these stories. Maybe clickbait. They want more views on their sites or whatever. But Dallas is not doing anything. Deep in the heart of every Dallas Cowboys fan, we know that Jerry says one thing and his actions do another. And that's how he's been. That's how it's going to be until he's out of there or something drastic happens. And I don't foresee that happening anytime soon. The Cowboys are in trouble. They've been in trouble. And it can get worse than 47-9 that we saw this Sunday on primetime television at their stadium against a very good Detroit Lions team.
But let's stand up at the Cowboys, man. Let's give credit to the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
They are balling out. Dan Campbell, a former Cowboy, he is
Hey.
doing a great job.
Hey, we out here biting kneecaps, baby. Let's go.
Biting kneecaps.
And Mr. Benefield, you live out in that area. So what is the energy like in Detroit with the Lions? Let's not talk about the Pistons, but the Lions, and then the Pirates make the playoffs.
Pops,
Hey, I'm going to see the Pistons.
Pops, if you don't know, Larry
it's crazy.
Is a Pistons fan.
It's crazy. They the fans, the Detroit fans ride with their teams. Win, lose, or draw. They stick with them. I've been going to a lot of the games out here in Detroit, a lot of the football games. When the Lions wasn't doing so well, and still the stadium is packed. If it's not sold out, it's close to it. So they ride with them. Same thing with the Tigers, with the baseball team. So them making the playoff this year, they hadn't made the playoffs in the last 10 years. They got on a hot streak. They was actually the first half of the season below 500. They was about 10, 12 games below 500. So they got on a little run. Yeah, they got hot, and the only problem was just that run that they got on just wasn't sustainable. So they eventually ran out of gas. They almost got a chance to play to get into the World Series, and even if they'd have made it that far, I don't think they would have won because again the way they were playing out of their minds. I think it was just they would have eventually fell off just as they did. But the fans down here ride with them, man. They rock with them hard. My wife, who don't know nothing about football or any sport, but hey, as soon as the Lions start winning, Tigers winning, they raise up, they ride, they putting on the gear, and they stand behind their team. So the energy was crazy down here. Even going back to the last season, with the run that the Lions got on, almost making it to the Super Bowl, and actually had the 49ers beat, and then fell apart, in that second half, man. So. I root against them simply because I'm a Cowboys fan, and my father-in-law, is a diehard, Lions, Tigers. They breed and live in Detroit, so me and him constantly battling, going back and forth. But quiet as it kept, I was rooting for Detroit, last season to get to the Super Bowl. What I'm saying? So I was going to be a quiet, very quiet, what I'm saying? Under the radar fan rooting for Detroit. Simply because, my father-in-law would be nice to see him, get some love, for them, trying to make a Super Bowl run, in his lifetime. He 80 years old, and he rocked with them, real hard. So, when they lose, I give him the business, and you can imagine what he did to me this past Sunday. I even went to the gym during the game, trying to get my workout on, and the phone would never stop ringing. I was getting calls from all over the world, man. Everybody, they know I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. And the phone was just blowing up. I was missing calls, text messages. I mean, when I say literally across the world, everybody was hitting me up to let me know the Cowboys was getting shellacked. So a lot of Detroit fans. So when I walk around with my Dallas gear down here, yeah, people be trying to talk tough to me, and then, you need to take that off, and blah blah blah. So, but now, hey, we represent down here too, Dallas. A couple of years ago when the Cowboys came to town, went to the game, it was like a home game for the Cowboys. Just like, the Dallas, the Detroit fans, rode hard for the Lions when they went to Dallas. So, that was somewhat of a revenge game.
There was a lot of Detroit fans in that stadium on Sunday.
Yeah.
A lot of Detroit fans in that stadium.
Yeah. It was, man. But yeah, the energy in Detroit, man, is definitely on the up and up, outside of the Pistons. But, the Tigers doing their thing, made a good run this year. Lions started off last year. They done picked up where they left off. They're looking good. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I love to see, Detroit, they've been hurting for years with their football team. And, they finally, since Barry Sanders, they've really, been non-existent. So just seeing, the football team bring the life to that city.
Yeah. Yeah, they ride with
they had Megatron. They had Megatron and Matt Stafford at one point in time.
Well, yeah, they did. But, I mean, they didn't win. They won, I think they made, 2 playoff appearances with them, too. So, I mean, Detroit doing big things, man. Shout out to Dan Campbell.
They got disrespectful with y'all, though, and that's what is great. They had linemen running routes and reverses, and
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every bit of that.
If I was the head coach of the Detroit Lions, I would have done the exact same thing. Given how the game ended last season when they came to Dallas, I think Dan Campbell went out of his way to do that to prove a point.
Yeah,
he did. He's all right. Well, I'm gonna get multiple plays with multiple linemen involved because there's gonna be no questions about it this time. And I think we're much better than the Dallas Cowboys. We're really gonna rub it and stick it in their face and make them wear it. Like our guys are so good and so much better than yours that our linemen can line up as wide receivers and do flea flickers and run routes and do all these things and still beat you.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did.
You got to see me in the parking lot after that.
No, Dallas don't want to see him in the parking lot. They're going to run.
You got to see me in the parking lot.
I can't.
Shoot, Dak, we talk about Dak, we paid him, Patrick Mahomes type money, but when has Dak been most successful? When they had a running game and when the defense turns the ball over. And when they don't do those two, they don't win football games.
Well, he had a pretty successful year last year individually. Given the fact they didn't have much of a run game,
but they led the league in turnovers. They had great field position last year. Yeah, they've led the league in turnovers for the past 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And they don't get turnovers in the playoffs, but
he was second in MVP running last year too.
Right. Yeah.
He was. Arguably should have won the award. He was 70% completion percentage, 4,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. Had a 105.9 rating.
Yeah. Second in MVP race.
But then, again, Trigger, what I always say about players in that contract year, that's when they ball out the most.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know it.
So
right on time. But yeah, McCarthy's not on the hot seat, though. In fact, that seat is more so like a recliner. Like he's laid back, feet up, got a drink in his hand. Like ain't nothing uncomfortable or hot about that seat at all. He is living his best life. He got nothing to worry about at least for the rest of this season.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw a name out there for y'all that I've heard grumblings they want to come back. John Gruden.
It don't matter who the coach is. As long as Jerry Jones is the owner.
John Gruden.
Sign me up.
Because look,
Sign me up.
we had
Look,
we had a
I
we had a
tell you,
John
man.
we had a John Gruden years ago by the name of Bill Parcells. You remember him? And Jerry Jones
Yep.
ran him out of town. It don't matter who the coach gonna be.
Jerry just turned 82
Hey,
though. I think he about done with the Cowboys.
No,
I
bro.
I like John Gruden. I like, and then I get the controversy that happened with him and him being out the league and all that stuff. But man, I watched the Hard Knock series when he was coaching the Raiders, and man, some of the stuff that he was saying and doing to like motivate his guys, and I'm like, bro, I was ready to run through a brick wall for that man. I'm sitting there watching it on TV. And I'm just like, that's the type of motivation, that's the type of pregame speech, that's the type of you know a leader that I want to run behind.
Yeah.
Then you look at Mike McCarthy's little hype, little speech or whatever, and it's like, you know, nothing. You don't feel anything. So
It's
I
not.
believe that certain guys can do certain things better than others, and they're better in other areas. And I think John Gruden, you know, I watched clips of him when he was in Tampa and when he was with the Raiders, and this dude, like, there's nothing soft about him and his
Now
coaching style.
let's look at it. Is John Gruden really that good? I'm looking at his stats. His head coaching record is only 122 and 116. He's 6 games over 500. So is it really, what he say he is?
Has he had some great teams?
He has some great teams, but he has some horrible teams too.
So there you
So
go.
when he was with the Raiders, he was 64 and 38. But then when he got traded to the Bucks, outside of that Super Bowl winning year, is pretty lethargic. He was 57 and 55 as the Buccaneers head coach, and then the Raiders, the second stint with the Raiders was just god awful. He was 22 and 31.
Would you take 56 and 48?
So you don't think John Gruden, with the talent that Dallas has, would be a successful coach?
I don't think Jesus Christ himself could be a good head coach with Jerry Jones as the owner. I mean, me personally.
Look, I wouldn't put a lot of stock in the record, right?
Yeah.
I need that leader of men like a Mike Tomlinson, because McCarthy got a good record. He been winning during the regular season. He got 3 12-win seasons in a row. So, but again, that's due to the talent. I tell people all the time, when he had Green Bay, they didn't win the Super Bowl because of him. They won that Super Bowl because of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was that dude on the field, managing games, knew what was going on. So that was the saving grace for McCarthy to have, the type of winning that he did in Green Bay, and the chance of getting to a Super Bowl. But again, now think about this. Think of how many times they came close. They hit the NFC Championship 4 times and never got to the Super Bowl. Green Bay was 3 or 4 times. Again, as great as Aaron Rodgers was, he got the one Super Bowl win. If the coach had been different, that right type of coach, Green Bay would have had another, easily probably could have had another 2, 3, 4 championships.
That's
So
true.
again, he's been winning because he's been surrounded by talented teams. Talking about McCarthy, he's had some talented teams, but
And I look
he
at
ain't had, he can't have, he never have them ready for the moment to play the big games when it's time to shine, when it's time to get on the big stage, go out here, and do what needs to be done. He's not that dude. I'm sorry. Like I say, Mike Tomlinson is a leader of men.
Amen.
We need that as a coach on the sideline. You got to have that dude. You got to have that guy.
I agree 1,000%. But like you, Mr. Benefield, ain't no way Mike Tomlin working for Jerry Jones.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So my issue with Jerry is, why is it that he can't see that himself? Let me bring a dude like that up in here. And if he had kept Jimmy Johnson, he'd have had another 2 or 3 championships.
No, Jimmy Johnson got too much credit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Jimmy
Maybe
Johnson got too much credit.
You can elaborate more, Mr. Benfield, but I think Jerry was so fed up that everybody sitting there and said that was Jimmy Johnson's 3 Super Bowls. His ego was like, I can prove to y'all that I can bring a Super Bowl to Dallas without Jimmy. And
I don't care.
30 years, he has a success.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Come on in here and Jerry, win me some more.
I look at it.
You think about the team that when he fired Jimmy Johnson, when he got rid of him, what was the dude that coached after that?
Barry Switzer.
Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl with the team that Jimmy put together.
Yeah.
There ain't no way Barry Switzer. Come on, man, really? That team was that good.
Night and day difference with coaching styles between Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer, by the way.
Absolutely, but that team was that good.
Yep.
It was that good.
I got another name for y'all that I think may, and that's Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel may come down there and play. I mean, play around with Jerry. He dealt with Bill Belichick. He's got that personality. He's respected among players.
Yeah, he like a Dan Campbell type dude.
Mm-hmm.
And he had Tennessee. Tennessee was one game away from the Super Bowl one of these coaches, wasn't it? Lost to Kansas City in the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's been there.
And if y'all get a Aston Gentry in the first round this year.
But that's the thing, though, man. For the past 30 years, we have had the Bill Parcells. We didn't have the top-notch players. What has it gotten us?
So what do you feel is in your way? Is it Jerry?
I just said it's Jerry. That is in our way.
But it comes down. I look at it, but Jerry ain't on the field at the end of the day, too, though.
But Jerry controls the culture. Like Mr. Benefield said, it needs to be a culture thing.
It comes from the top down.
Yeah. You know, if you so you can have I'm a teacher. You can have all the great teachers in the world, but if your administrative staff is butt, that school is going to shambles.
Yeah.
So like you said, it starts up top.
Yep, I second that. You know, Jerry, at the end of the day, he's responsible for all the decisions that he makes or doesn't make for this franchise. And you just look at this season, look at the preseason. I harped on it earlier about personnel, knowing that you needed a running back. And what do? They don't get a running back in free agency, and then they don't draft one. And they go and re-sign Zeke Elliott like he's just going to turn back the clock and become what he was the first 4 years he was in Dallas.
But did they not draft one because Carolina took the running back y'all was going to draft?
Maybe, but there were still other running backs available.
Yeah, you had Braylon Allen. You had Ray Davis who went off Monday.
But here's the thing, though, man.
I would love to have Braylon Allen.
That's why it's called Plan B. So if Plan A don't work out, you always have a backup plan. Have a Plan B if Plan A don't work.
It seems like it's never Plan B.
And that's the issue.
Don't seem like it's a Plan A.
Look,
right.
When Derrick Henry hit the market, and we passed on Derrick Henry, I say, right, I just knew he was fit to be in a Cowboys uniform. He wanted to play in Texas.
Yeah,
he wanted
to be a Cowboy.
He lives in Dallas.
He wanted that. And when we let that ride, I said, yep, it's going to be a long season for the Cowboys. Yep, it's going to be a long season. That was the answer to fixing, outside of the offensive line. Now you got that dude, that beast in the backfield. You see what I'm saying? At least can get you some tough short yards when you need it to move the chains, first downs. When you get in the red zone and you need to be that, you need that threat. Man.
And Derrick Henry.
We can't score no touchdowns. We can't, we like the loss to the Giants this year, kicking field goals. The Giants almost beat us kicking field goals.
Derrick, let me tell you how special Derrick Henry is. He is the only person that has walked on this earth that's rushed for 2,000 yards in high school, 2,000 yards in college, and 2,000 yards in the pros. Nobody that's ever walked on this earth has done that. That is
y'all had him in y'all hands.
We let that
Derrick Henry, and the other thing about Derrick Henry too is I like to think that the Cowboys' offensive line is a little bit better than what he was dealing with when he was in Tennessee. And you saw what he did when he was in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that you need that, hey, we ain't got to worry about Dak getting hit and taking sacks because his offensive line can't block, for so long. Hand the ball off to Derrick Henry, he's going to negate a lot of that and take a lot of pressure off of Dak from having to try to force the ball to CeeDee Lamb. And then it's going to make them stack the box. You're going to bring extra defenders in there. So now things are a little bit more open for CD, but now you might get Jalen Tolbert. Now you might get Jalen Brooks. Now you might get Kevontae Turpin. These other guys will start to get open.
So let me throw this out there. let me throw this out there now, based off of what you just said, Trey. Right now, obviously we're fans of the games. We sit, week in and week out. We watch. We criticize. And again, I'm sitting on the sofa watching Cowboys play these games, and I can tell you what play they're getting ready to run. I'm sitting. I'm telling you. It's that predictable. There's no movement, no creativity, no nothing to shift to make to put the defense on their heels to keep them guessing. Nothing. They just sitting there salivating.
One dimensional.
So again, if we can see it, right? How is it that these professionals getting paid these millions of dollars to coach, these staffs that they're bringing in, can't figure this stuff out? And I think they can. And I think it circles back around to Jerry Jones. You can't tell me. We just, Trey, you just brought up some good points about just having that dude on the field and the backfield, just coming to the game. The defense gonna have to shift to be ready. We're gonna have to stack the box. You gotta respect the run, whether he's picking up big yards or not, because he can break it at any minute. Now that gives you some options for the passing game. That's gonna open it up a little bit. So you getting paid millions of dollars to coach in the NFL? No, you're not. Am I getting paid millions? No, I'm not. And see, and my counterparts around here was like, man, you Cowboys, and you was good. What happened? Yes, because again, message need to be sent. Jerry Jones need to go through this. He's got to get it. Out the next game, they get blown out 40-9. And then one after that, and the one after that, and the one after that. This need to be
very likely.
That schedule get tough.
That's very, very likely. That
schedule get tough.
They play the 49ers when they come back.
Two of the next three.
Like I say, I think they'd be lucky to win 6 games this year. I think they'd be lucky to eke out another 3 wins throughout the rest of the season.
49ers, Falcons, Eagles, Texans, Commanders, Giants is the next 6.
Okay, Eagles, we might win. The Commanders, we probably gonna get a beat down. Y'all see how Jaden quarterbacking with the Commanders? Man, he looking good. Good.
Don't worry, we're gonna take care of them. We're gonna take care of them this weekend for y'all. Don't worry.
Keep throwing that thing. Who is we? The Panthers?
Carolina.
Man, been saying that for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, y'all gonna take care of them, all right.
Take care of them. They got all our old players. We're gonna take care of them.
He's gonna take care of that win column for him. Give him another win. That win column look good is what y'all gonna do.
Long season for my Cowboys, but we need it. We need that reality check. Not from just one game. We need that long season where it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt.
Y'all we gotta get that run game figured out because the 49ers and Falcons can run that ball.
Oh yeah, I guarantee you one of those teams will have 40 minutes of time of possession. 40. I'm calling it now.
It was funny because Jerry Jones came out and said that they saving Zeke.
For what? To trade him at the end of the offseason?
It said Zeke want more touches. They said, "Oh, we saving him for the second half." like y'all going somewhere. Like, what you saving him for? What is he gonna do? Oh my goodness! It is comical. It's comical at this point because they actually believe that Ezekiel Elliott is going to morph back into the running back he used to be and just going to carry us to the promised land.
And and you know what? That's what Jerry Jones probably thought. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yes, exactly. Who in their right mind will go back and get a running back who's showing you statistically he has declined every single year in the league? His numbers have gone down. Down. You miss out on all those other running backs, Saquon, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, all those guys, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, and you go back and get Ezekiel Elliott. That's going to solve your problems.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you gonna start sleeping on
that
Zeke.
in a nutshell. That in a nutshell right there sums up the entire Dallas Cowboys organization right there. That
you
right
start
there.
sleeping on Zeke.
That right there. Oh,
Brandon, I'm in a coma when it comes to Zeke.
Zeke sleeping on Zeke. Hey, you see him sitting on the sideline? Zeke sleeping on Zeke.
I haven't heard. I haven't heard Zeke's name all year. Has he just not been
He
playing?
ain't
Or?
heard his name all year.
He hasn't. He's been averaging like 6 touches a game.
So y'all got Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook and not using them at all.
Nope.
Dalvin Cook's still on the practice squad. I don't know. Like at this point, might as well bring him up and see what he can do. But
Dalvin
see,
Cook
here's
ain't
the
gonna.
thing. Here's the thing about Dalvin Cook, right? So Dalvin Cook had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. It's rushing. That doesn't count all-purpose yards, but just 1,000 yards on the ground 4 years in a row rushing. Minnesota didn't want to pay him, so they let him go. And all offseason he sat and he sat and he sat, and the Jets finally picked him up. And when the Jets picked him up for whatever reason, the Jets didn't want to run the ball the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. And then Brees Hall comes in, he gets healthy, and now he's the RB1 in New York. Dalvin Cook gets cut again. And the Ravens pick him up, end of last year for the playoff run. And, it didn't really work out because he didn't really have time to gel, learn the playbook, whatever, and really take off with it. So since he's left Minnesota, this is now his third team. All 3 teams have picked him up late in the offseason. He hasn't had a chance to really get a full workout or full training camp in with these teams to show what he can do. I am inclined to believe that this man didn't just fall off a cliff. His numbers are bad, yes, but he hasn't had any opportunity
Golly.
since he really left the Jets. And when he was with the Jets, they didn't really play him. Like a lot of those games, after the first 3 or 4 weeks, he was on the bench because they knew Brees Hall was the guy. Dalvin Cook was just an insurance policy. But even when Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook were there, they still weren't running the ball for whatever reason. And then finally they turned it over to Brees Hall and they let Dalvin Cook go. So I feel like Dalvin Cook hasn't been treated fairly here in terms of how people label him as, oh, he's washed up, and like he's not the same running back. We haven't had a chance to see him in a full training camp with the team and go out and play, week one, a decent amount of snaps to make that assessment about him. So I think right now with the Cowboys, he's been with the team long enough to learn the system, learn their plays, and kind of get acclimated to the system. At this point, you're not really taking away from the team by elevating him because your run game is already non-existent. So I'm like, throw him out there, see what he does. He has to be somewhat better than what we got right now. And I'm inclined to believe that he still has a lot left in the tank after the tear he came off of with Minnesota. That's just me, though. Everybody else says something different. Maybe they've seen something with these teams that make them think, nah, we're good. And Dallas is kind of just holding on to him until they decide to go in another direction. But just given what I've seen with Minnesota, the numbers he put up there, and how he hasn't had a fair opportunity with the teams that he's been with since, I'm still inclined to believe that he has something that he can offer us and help with our run game. But it
I,
remains to be seen.
I hear you and I agree, but I also know the bad side of Dalvin Cook was he had the fumble issues. Maybe he's fumbling in practice. So, we don't see what they see in practice. I know that was one reason why Minnesota didn't want to pay him because he fumbles too much.
Yep.
And that may be an issue. That's why he's not on the field.
Yeah, and then that's why I say I don't know if it's something that they're seeing as to why he's not playing, but just based off what I've seen, like the numbers speak for himself. And I know he's 30, and that's old for a running back. Him and Zeke are the same age. But last time I checked, when his numbers were 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, Zeke's was going the opposite direction,
Yeah.
fast. So he got to be a little bit better than Zeke, is all I'm saying.
I hear you. I hear you.
I thought Dalvin Cook got that shoulder surgery to fix the fumbling issue, or was
Yeah,
that
he did
something?
have surgery, something going on. I mean, that could be another issue why he's not playing. Maybe they don't trust
That was
the
in 2023 though.
injury.
But
So
Now wait, time out. How does a shoulder surgery help you not fumble the football?
holding on to the ball. I mean, if you got a bad shoulder, someone hit that shoulder in the pass, you gonna release that ball. I thought that's something I heard.
I mean, it may be true. I just, maybe I just always thought it was ball security why you can't hold on to the football.
yeah, I mean,
I
it
thought I
might
heard
be a
something.
mix of both. Who knows? But at this point, whether he fumbles or not, I don't care. Get him in there and see what he can do. Like the options we got right now ain't working. And if
Yeah.
you believe the guys you have on your team are the answer, like he's been so proud to go out there and announce to the world, like, oh, we got good guys on. I like our guys. I like our guys. We don't need to go out and make any trades or sign anybody in free agency or draft any big names. Like I like who we have. I like who we have. All right, well, you got Dalvin Cook. You must like him. Throw him out there and see what he does.
So
Give him a chance. Give him opportunity.
we went from not talking about the Cowboys earlier this week to spending 50 minutes on.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how we end up doing this.
There's a lot. There's a lot to cover. There's a lot to cover.
So we can move on to the next slide, or y'all want to continue on the Cowboys?
No.
Oh yeah, I'm good. You go ahead.
We can move on.
Well,
We
I
don't
don't know.
got to talk about that.
Now on the bright note, let's talk about those. Let's talk about those pinstripes. Number 27 bound to be 28.
Man, you skipped all the way ahead.
That's all right. You know what? That's what we doing.
I'm about to say, how many more slides? How many more slides we got till we get to baseball? Great.
go.
We got to talk about.
Yeah, baseball last on the list. What are you doing?
I care about baseball.
Just sit here and say outside of the fifth inning.
You just say that because them sorry old Red Sox ain't in the playoffs.
Hold on. Who you talking about? My team in the playoffs. What you talking about?
Oh yeah, you can convert it to the game.
My team.
Good.
Let's just say outside of the fifth, the top of the fifth, where Cole, he struggled. The Yankees pitching was good. Their base running is still suspect. They're the worst base running team in baseball.
Y'all not beating the Dodgers.
I don't know. Oh, you said what?
Y'all not beating the Dodgers.
Well, and look.
You might.
Look, we're being positive right now.
Yeah, outside of their base running, they had a great game yesterday. The pitching was good outside the top of the fifth. Judge got a homer. Their big three, all of them had a home run now.
That home run sealed the game last night.
Yeah, I think that the biggest play of the game was that Anthony Rizzo hit, where it doinked off the side, and the dude, I can't remember who was on first base. He went from first base to home.
Volpe.
Yeah, and they should have got extra run, but Jazz Chisholm, I don't know what he was doing. He got caught on second.
Jazz he's reckless sometimes, man. And it frustrates me so much. Like he does so much more than he has to.
Right.
Like too fast for his own good. Like, dude, still out.
Mm-hmm.
Come off with a leadoff double, and then you find a way. Like, it should have been an extra run. It should have been 5-2.
Right. But the Yankees did their thing. They're at Cleveland tomorrow. It's gonna be cold. Well, it's cold in New York, so I guess
I'm about to say it.
Yeah, but
49, 16 mile per hour winds.
Out there with them turtlenecks on.
Yeah, you saw what Jazz Chisholm had on. You thought he looked like an igloo last night.
He's ready to rob somebody.
They say he's from Bahamas. He's from
Bahamas. And I figured because they said his eyes when he had watery eyes. It's like, all right now, like put on some shades or something. I know it's dark, but
I was looking at this game tonight and looking at Cleveland. They don't have a bullpen. I've never seen anybody in baseball struggle that hard to find pitchers.
Yeah,
which is crazy because they had one of the best bullpens in all of baseball.
But
they've been leaving a lot of people on base. It's not been easy. A lot of people have been getting stranded on base for Cleveland that could change that game.
God.
LA is not going. LA or New York is not going to give up those chances.
The Yankees. Well, I give Carlos Rodon credit because he pitched game one. He didn't have any walks. So if they get hits and get on base, fine. My whole thing was with Cole, giving up hits, and he was walking people last night. And literally, like 3 straight innings, the leadoff hitter led off with a single or a double.
And
but he's putting guys right off the bat.
He's not walking guys. He's walking them 4-0, 4-1. It's like, bruh, it's not even close.
Yeah, he had two batters last night that he walked on 4 pitches.
Right.
And for the Yankees to only give up 2 runs, I think the bases were loaded twice.
Mm-hmm.
And they only gave up 2 runs. Like, I give them credit for getting out of it, but man, the stress that I was going through, watching them put these runners on with 1 out, or no outs. And you just know they're going to score. The Yankees only had a 3-0 lead, and they just kept getting guys on base, kept getting guys on base. And I was like, we're going to lose this lead. Like they're going to hit a big hit. Somebody's going to hit a home run or something. It's going to be 7-2 or 7-3, 8-3. before the fifth inning. But the big hit never came for Cleveland, and I think it's a little bit of luck, but I do think that Cole found a way to work himself out of the jams that he got in. Now, I haven't had a whole lot of confidence in Cole this postseason, and a couple of outings that he's gone and done. Like I've been very 50-50 on. Like they're okay, but I'm looking at Carlos Rodon, Clark Smith, like those guys go out there and they lock things down. Now Rodon did have that one bad outing after he went like 4 straight innings and didn't give up anything, and then the wheels came off and he just absolutely just was terrible. But since then he's been pretty good. He had a good bounce back game one. Cole's been steady. Smith's been wonderful. Our bullpen, that MVP of the series right now has been the bullpen. Those guys come on and they don't allow anything. And shout out to Aaron Boone for finally putting Luke Weaver in the official, unofficial closer spot. That man is lights out. And I remember we had a show back in the summer where I was talking about Weaver. And he was the guy, I was like, the Yankees, if they're going to put somebody in that closing spot, if they get Clay Holmes out of that spot, Luke Weaver needs to be the guy. Like, we got some pretty good arms in the bullpen, but he needs to be the guy. And I feel like it finally came to fruition. They got Clay Holmes as a setup guy, and he has thrived in that role. I guess for him, being the closer, there's been too much pressure. Like, I watched this guy blow so many saves this season. Like, and I'll never forgive him for the Seattle Mariners series earlier in the season. We went into the ninth inning, up 4-1. And he came in and gave up 4 runs. And we lost 5-4. So those were the types of games that he was blowing. Like, it wasn't like, we had a 1-run lead or 2. Like, we'd be up 3-4 runs and he found a way to lose the games for us. He led the American League, and I think maybe all of baseball, with 13 blown saves. He was even blowing saves. He was even blowing saves after they took him out of the closing position. Like, he would come in the 7th inning and give up leads and get credit for blowing the save in those games. So, like, I was like, this dude's on a mission. He's going to blow a save in every inning of the season this year. He's going to be the first pitcher to do that. But they finally, instead of benching them, they put him in the setup role, and they put Weaver in that closing spot. And I think that's made all the difference. When he comes up to the mound, whether we need 3 outs, 2 outs, 5 outs, Weaver's been able to get the job done. Now, he gave up the home run to Jose Ramirez last night, but it was meaningless. There were no men on base. It was just 1 run. And that's really the only mistake he's made like the last 2 months. So I'll take that. But he has been, if I had to single one player so far that has been the MVP of the postseason, it would be Luke Weaver. But the Yankees do look good. The fact that Judge is slumping, he hit the big 2-run home run last night that iced the game. But the fact that he's been slumping, Giancarlo Stanton has been playing out of his mind. Juan Soto has been playing out of his mind. Gleyber Torres, like, I was very critical of Gleyber Torres because of his effort and the boneheaded plays and the lack of hustle plays that he was making early in the season. Boone has benched him and pulled him out of the game a couple of times for some of the things that he's done. And he was literally statistically the worst second baseman in all of baseball. Like, not even kidding. Like, that was a stat. He was the worst, dead last of all second basemen in baseball. And Boone put him in the leadoff spot because the Yankees went a long time. And we were going, kind of playing a ring around the rosy here, trying to find a leadoff hitter. And Gleyber Torres finally became that guy. Since he became that guy, he's been batting over 300 in that spot. He's been getting on base. He's been drawing walks. He's been having great at-bats, great hitting, and, like, has made life easier for Juan Soto and Aaron Judge coming up behind him. So those 3 coming up to the plate, Torres, Soto, Judge. They got Wells back, cleanup, who's been horrible, by the way. Then they need to put Stanton back in that cleanup spot and put Wells 5th in the order. But that trio, Torres, Soto, Judge, has always been wonderful. Torres had 3 hits last night. I think Soto had a couple of hits last night to the point where they intentionally walked him to pitch to Judge. Think about that. Judge has been so bad that they walked Soto and loaded the bases and pitched to Aaron Judge in last night's game.
Looking at this
It's
game,
crazy how that happened.
you got to
But
go Shohei, Mookie Betts to Freddie Freeman. That's
that's
the
the
same.
equivalent. That's the equivalent to our first three batters.
Shohei gonna hit the ball though. Shohei gonna hit the ball.
So is Torres and Soto.
I won't talk about them. I was talking about your captain.
It don't matter.
I was talking about your captain.
Look. Aaron Judge has been batting.
And then Shohei can get on the mound and then go strike out Aaron Judge. He can hit a home run, then get on the mound and strike out Aaron Judge.
And he ain't doing that this year.
Yeah, they said no.
But that's my thing though.
Though.
The Yankees have been playing very good baseball, and Aaron Judge has been terrible. That's my point. So think about it. If he gets his bat going, what that's going to mean for the Guardians if he gets it going this series or in the World Series on the big stage. Like
if you can't get it going against the Guardians, you think you're gonna get it going against the Dodgers or the Mets?
It's baseball, brother. Anything can happen.
Any given October.
And that's what I'm saying. His team has been carrying him. Like he's been playing very bad. He's batting like 180, but Torres is batting 300. Soto's batting 300. Stanton's batting 300. Even the guys at the bottom of the lineup, Volpe, Verdugo, Rizzo coming in off the fractured fingers is out here getting hits. He's batting 300. So like everybody is stepping their game up. Judge, there's no pressure on him to have to perform with the way the rest of the guys are batting right now.
Who's the catcher?
Austin Wells.
Because he made a great play last night when he sacrificed his bicep.
Great play.
He sacrificed his bicep to save that because that'd have been some runs.
And that's another credit to Boone because we had Jose Trevino playing the catcher spot when Trevino got hurt. They were kind of playing Wells and Trevino, but Trevino was getting more playing time than Wells, and a lot of Yankees fans wanted Wells to play, including me, because he really showed some great signs. He has some really good at bats, and he's a really, really good catcher. Like I seen him improve over the season at the catcher position, especially when Trevino went out with the injury. Wells got way more playing time. He became an everyday player, and man, he has blossomed into one of the best catchers in all of baseball. And you saw it last night, the plays that he made. His bat is going cold right now, and he's in that cleanup spot, and he hasn't been taking advantage of Torres and Judge and Soto getting on base as he should. He's been striking out a lot, but his glove, his work as a catcher, how he frames the ball on pitches has been phenomenal, and you can't replace that. It's been better than Trevino, so I'm hoping that Wells continues to play just for that reason. I have a feeling like Judge that he'll turn it on soon with his bat, but his defense and his catching, everything else that he brings to the table has been phenomenal, and he's earned his playing time. And like I said, unless he gets injured, I don't expect Boone to go back to having Trevino in the lineup anytime soon.
All right.
He's a great young catcher.
Before we go back to the NFL to do our picks. All right, World Series picks. Who we got, gentlemen?
Yankees, Mets.
LA, New York to LA.
You say
Subway Series. Yep, Yankees, Mets.
Who leading that series right now?
It's tied 1-1.
Is it tied 1? Yeah, it is tied 1-1.
Yeah, they should be playing right now.
They are. It's 2-0 Dodgers in the top of the third. 2 outs.
I got New York to LA.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got New York. Now, I don't like the Yankees. I'm sad to say I can't believe my son liked the Yankees, but I can't talk because my team ain't in it this year. The Braves. We had some injuries down the stretch. That caused us some
lost in pitching. Yep.
Yeah, and that's what you need that to win championship. You got to have that pitching's got to be tight. So again, when they even made the playoffs, I was like, okay. Then they had to travel, and go play those games. You know what I'm saying, back to back and all of that. And so it was just a matter of time before it was over for them. So I think they tried to get in just to keep the playoff streak going, but no expectations. And next year, I think they're a team they'll definitely be a team to be reckoned with because they'll be healthy. So, but again, I'm not to say that I'm a Dodgers fan, but I think the Dodgers will beat the Mets, and it'll be a Yankees Dodgers, matchup in the World Series again. And I just don't want to see New York win another championship. Man, every time I turn around, them jokers boy playing for a World Series. It seems like.
I'm going New York.
I haven't felt that way.
Mets too.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Subway, like they've been saying, a Subway World Series.
We owe them. We owe the Mets. We went 0-4 against them this year.
Now I will say this, old school, never been a Yankees fan, but I was always a Derek Jeter fan, back in the day. Jeter was that dude, man.
El Capitan.
Yeah, he was that guy.
Okay.
All right. Back to NFL. We want to go into the units, best division, or we just want to go make some picks real quick?
Best
Since we
division.
spent so much time on
I think it's unanimous. The NFC North. And it's not even close.
You can't. Chicago's wins don't count, so we can't say that.
As Bill Parcells says, your record is you are what your record says you are. You can't control who you play.
They beat the Jaguars, the Panthers, and who else? It was another horrible team they beat. All the teams they beat are like 1-5 and 1-4.
So you finally admit that the Panthers are horrible. That what you said?
Panthers are the worst team in the NFL. But
oh my gosh.
I mean, I got stats to prove it. If you want to go to the next slide, if you want to look at the bottom 5, Cowboys right there beside us.
Yeah. As they should. As they should.
If you want to look at defenses,
as they should.
I'm not gonna say worst team. We have a top. Our offense is better than y'all offense. Our offense is 25. Y'all offense is 26, according to Pro Football Focus. So I'm not gonna say we're the worst team in the league, but we're building. I mean, we're missing 7 starters on defense, and
it'll be a good football game if they played each other right now.
December 15th gonna be a good one. We play in Carolina December 15th. Jonathan Brooks is at practice. Jonathan Brooks is at practice for the first time today.
I'll be watching Christmas movies on that day.
No, we're gonna be at the game.
I'll be watching Die Hard.
But if we look at the top 5 units on offense, you got the Ravens, the San Francisco 49ers, the Lions, the Falcons, and the Bucks. 2 of them are in our division. And then the bottom 5 on offense, you have the Browns, the Patriots, the Titans, the Broncos, and the Dolphins, surprisingly.
Yeah, well, no Tua, no Tyreek Hill.
Is Tua that important to the Dolphins offense?
Yep. I guess so.
I think
Tyreek Hill is out too. Tyreek Hill is out too, I believe.
I haven't seen that.
Running back.
I got to look at fantasy.
And they're starting running back. The starting running back is out as well. So they got injuries at pretty major positions there.
And then top 5 defense, the Lions, the Steelers, the Bears, the Broncos, and the 40. So they got a bottom 5 offense and a top 5 defense. That's crazy. And the 49ers. And then the bottom 5 defense is Carolina Panthers, Dallas Cowboys, Arizona Cardinals, Washington Commanders, and the Oakland Raiders. That's why I think we may be able to get the command. It's going to be a shootout with the Commanders, I think.
Battle between field goal kickers?
No, we don't kick field goals. We just throw picks in the red zone.
So does Dallas.
Hey, Brandon Aubrey been missing a couple kicks. We got to have a conversation.
What kicks he missed recently?
I don't know. He been missing on my fantasy. I saw he missed a couple field goals.
Well, I know he missed that one against the Giants.
Last week too.
One got blocked.
Okay, maybe it's a block.
That wasn't on him, but one got blocked.
All right, so that's the bottom top 5 units. So we're gonna say NFC North is the best division right now. That's gonna be decided, I think, this weekend too. When you got the Lions and Vikings, which takes us to our Week 7 slate. Tomorrow, Thursday night, you got the Broncos and the Saints. Who we going with?
Give me New Orleans.
Denver.
Ooh, all
yeah,
right.
Broncos do got a good defense. I didn't see the Saints. I see they look like they started out playing good against beat them the Buccaneers 51-27.
Yeah, it was like 24-27 and just got. But they had a backup quarterback. I need to see if Spencer Rattler's playing this week too.
Yeah, because old boy is out, right?
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Saints on this one.
Who did you say, Larry?
Well, I was saying, but I forgot Derek Carr is out.
Yeah, that's why I'm going with Denver.
Yeah, give me Denver.
Now, don't count out Spencer Rattler. He did have a good game against who are the Bucks? The Bucks got a top 5. No, they don't. Never mind. So Denver, and missed a bit of. You said the Saints
Yeah.
and Spencer Rattler. I don't know if he's playing or not. Oh yeah, he will. He is playing against Bo Nix. So it's 2 rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Saints as well because I trust the Saints offense over Denver's offense. I think Alvin Kamara, Raheem Shaheed, Chris Olave.
So he might not play.
And
That is
Olave's
true.
not playing either.
Oh, never mind. Ooh.
You sure? That's why I say Denver, man. They got some injuries in New Orleans right now.
Ooh. Ooh.
You think about it.
Mm.
Quarterback hurt, receivers hurt. He's got Alvin Kamara on offense. That's it.
So the Broncos, they're not gonna have Pat Surtain. They're not gonna have a tackle. Everybody else looks good to go. Derek Carr is doubtful. Taysom Hill is doubtful. Chris Olave is out. Guard is questionable. Another guard is out. D tackle questionable. Shaheed is out. This is a toss up game for real. Saints are at home. I'm gonna take the Saints because they're at home. Because I mean, even without Pat Surtain, I don't. Denver's defense doesn't scare me, honestly. So let's go to the 9:30 game. You got the
That
Patriots
game
and the
is in London,
Jaguars.
right? Ain't they playing in London somewhere?
Yeah, I think they're playing in London or Germany, one of them.
You said the Patriots and the Jaguars?
Yes. Drake
Jags.
May's next game. You said
Give me
Jags, True?
Jags.
Yeah, give me the Jags.
Evan Ingram's back. I think that's changed life for Trevor Lawrence because he went to him early and often last game. So having that extra, and then now Tank Bigsby is picking up at the running back spot.
Oh yeah, they're staying in Great Britain.
I think they're a little bit better on paper than New England is right now. Even if Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback.
I'm gonna go with the Jags too. Everybody said the Jags.
Yeah.
Yep. Don't they have like a winning record playing over in London? They usually seem like they play pretty good when they go across the water.
I think they're there every time.
Yeah,
that's their home.
They play all
every year. They send them away.
They was in London last week, won't they?
Yeah, they stayed over.
Yep.
All right, Atlanta versus Seahawks.
I feel like this is a trap game because everything is telling me the Falcons. Because the Seahawks, they look good, then they don't. It's like as soon as you're ready to write them off, they start playing well again. Then it's like you're ready to give them credit, they fall off again. So it's like the inconsistency is too much for me, and I feel like the Falcons have, the better team, and I want to go with them. They're at home, but then someone's been like, Gino's gonna go off this Sunday. I'm gonna pick the Falcons. I'm gonna stay with the Falcons.
Ooh, Falcons.
Yeah, I agree. Gino is sketchy, man. When he on now, but he got to be on.
Yeah, he's got weapons like DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Tyler Lockett. They great receiving core. They got a good running game, Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, but I think Walker still might be hurt. I mean, they've shown flashes that they can be a good team and can even be a potential playoff team, but the inconsistencies, man, they're too up and down. So
I'm gonna say the Falcons too, but I just watched the Falcons almost lose to us. I mean, the score was not.
Yeah, it's a division. It's a division game too.
Division,
they're always tougher.
Who you got, Larry? I'm sorry, Miles.
Miles. I'm gonna go with Hot Atlanta.
Seahawks, got you. Ooh, 1:00 game. I wish they had been made this a Sunday night game, but I guess they didn't know at the time. The Lions and the Vikings.
Wee.
Detroit. And I'll tell you why.
Where they playing in Minnesota?
I believe it is in Minnesota.
Yep, Detroit. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you look at these two teams, Detroit 4-1, Minnesota's 5-0. Minnesota's 5-0 record is not that impressive to me based off who they played.
They're playing in Minnesota, yes.
And their team. Like all around, Detroit has a weight. They have probably the best team in all of football right now.
Aiden
Defense.
Hutchinson is hurt. Aiden
With
Hutchinson is
AJ,
hurt.
with
gone.
him out, it don't matter. They have the best defense, the best offense in football right now, and the best
But they gonna
culture.
miss him though.
Yeah.
They are, but I still
Max
think
Crosby will be there
they
before
get it
Thanksgiving.
done. I still think they get it done though, because they do got some other pass rushers out there that were getting to my quarterback this past Sunday.
But are they getting there without Aiden Hutchinson?
I think so. I think they're just as motivated, even more so now with him being out. They got everything to play for. Everything's in front of them. They are who I see the San Francisco 49ers as the last 2 or 3 years. Like that team that you don't want to play. They're just too good. They got a two-headed monster at running back. Jared Goff is a serviceable quarterback. You got weapons on offense. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, Tim Patrick, who they
Jameson
picked up in
Williams.
free agency.
Yep.
Jameson Williams. They just got the best offensive line in the league. And then their defense is top 5. So they got all that going. On paper, they look it. On the field, they look it. I don't feel the same way about Minnesota, even though they're undefeated. I think that Minnesota gets their first loss this weekend.
I hear you, Trigger, but I trust Brian Flores going against Jared Goff more than anything. I think Brian Flores is going to mess Jared Goff up because we know he panics with pressure. And that's the one thing Brian Flores can do. Jared Goff is not the same player when he's getting pressured. So I'm going to go with Minnesota.
Hey, you know how you relieve that pressure?
I'm going for Minnesota because I'm just hating on the Lions because I can't. I'm rooting for the Vikings.
You know how he relieves that pressure though? To hand it off to David Montgomery.
Who's stopping Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison?
Who's stopping their receiving core?
On Minnesota side, Stephon Gilmore. Y'all sleep on Stephon Gilmore.
Okay.
I saw what he did.
Y'all missing him in Dallas?
No, he ain't.
I don't think he makes much of a difference in Dallas, to be honest.
Harrison Smith. I got the hitman back.
Did you see how he looked against Green Bay last year, Brandon?
Huh?
Did you see how he looked against Green Bay last year?
Yeah, that's Green Bay. Green Bay, the best team in the NFC North.
Nah.
And I stand on that.
Nah, Detroit's the best team in the NFC North, but the best team in football.
Give me Detroit. I think it's gonna be closer than what they think it's gonna be. I think one thing I learned when you come off a high victory, you tend to slip the following week. I think it's gonna be closer than what it is. What is that? A 1:00 game or 4:00?
1:00.
1:00.
Yeah, I think Detroit's gonna win, but I think Detroit's gonna struggle.
Okay. Philadelphia versus New York Giants. I got Philly.
So Philly versus the Giants.
Yeah.
Give me Philly.
Yeah, Philly.
Have a field day.
I'm hoping for a upset, but they're just not good enough. Even though Philly almost lost to Cleveland, barely.
Wait, they're getting AJ Brown back, and they're probably getting Devontae Smith back too. So
they came back last week.
That's the first game back though. They back in the groove now though.
Ain't no groove yet. If that's the case, then CeeDee Lamb and Dak have been putting up numbers since week 2.
CeeDee Lamb and Dak, all y'all got?
Yeah, I know. That's all we got.
Everybody going Philly?
Yeah.
Philly. Unfortunately.
Raiders against the Rams. I'm going the Rams.
You can give me LA.
Give me the
Raiders.
Raiders. As long as Nakua and Cup are still out, Matthew Stafford hasn't been playing as well. And I think the Raiders, they got new life. No Devontae Adams. They playing O'Connell now. They bench Minshew.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so they gonna play out of their minds.
Hey, the Rams still got Kyron Williams. That could be a 200-yard game at any time.
Probably ain't gonna run the ball if you behind them.
You think the Raiders gonna score points?
I think so.
All right.
I just feel like with all the stuff that's been happening with Devontae Adams and the head coach and the quarterback change, they just fellow players get new life just for a little bit. It might last only a couple of weeks, but they're in that time frame where they'll probably do something crazy, go out and score like 40 points or something.
I thought that would the Jets this week too, but they beat themselves. So, all right, we got one more. You got Mr. B.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I don't like the Rams. But I do need to reach out to the Rams and get Aaron Donald's phone number so the Cowboys can call him out of retirement.
His wife posted a video. He was asleep that one Sunday.
Getting some rest, huh? Well, hey,
Yeah.
Need him to come out there. He ain't no punk. He ain't talk.
Carolina versus Washington.
Woo. Washington gonna win. I need Carolina to pull off this upset.
Yeah,
until the Cowboys spiral all the way out of control, they need to keep things interesting in the NFC East. So I need the Panthers to win. So I'm rooting for the Panthers on this. I'm going for that sad Panthers fan.
Let's go.
I'm rooting for this is I'm rooting for the Commanders. This is why I want Dallas to be in so much misery. So here's a stat: if the Washington Commanders make the NFC Championship, there will be one team in the NFC that has not made a conference championship this millennium. Guess what team that would be?
Dallas Cowboys.
There you go. If the Washington Commanders make the Super Bowl, there will be one team in the NFC East that does not have made the Super Bowl in the 2010s. Guess what that team would be?
Dallas Cowboys.
I need the Commanders to win so the Cowboys can be shamed. Let's go Commanders.
And you know what the Commanders did? They cleaned house.
Yes.
Forced ownership to hold on Dan Snyder to sell his team. And now look at it. Whole new coaching staff, new front office, and look at the players they picked up in the offseason.
Right.
You want to talk about going all in? Who went all in?
And looked like they got themselves a quarterback too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Nailed it with the quarterback, number 2 overall pick in the draft, and Jaden Daniels. Got him in there. He's looking like a 5-year vet right now through the first 6 weeks of the season. They got a good offensive line. They went out and got Austin Eckler, another running back who was available that Dallas could have used. So they got a 2-headed monster in the running game.
I told you, give me a 3rd-round pick on Miles Sanders right now.
With him and Brian Robinson coming out of the backfield. So, yeah, Washington's got something brewing. And then Dan Quinn, who, obviously reinvented himself in Dallas, got back out as a head coach now, and is enjoying a lot of success here early on with the Commanders.
They got a bottom 5 defense.
Yes, that's like the only thing wrong with them right now. Plus, I would say the teams that they've played that they've beaten have not been great. However, 4-1 is still 4-1.
That's why Carolina coming in this week and getting a dub.
And they have played some high-powered offenses, I might say.
And they about to face another one.
Yep, they've been playing. Oh, stop.
They about to face another one.
No.
Carolina putting up 24 points, at least.
And how many quarters?
All 3.
I was thinking 6.
Carolina putting up 24 points at least. I'm telling you. Carolina putting up 24 points at least.
You count last week's game?
No, I'm telling you.
Game,
y'all gonna see. Y'all sleep on Chuba Hubbard. He's a top 5 back in the NFL. we can talk about it. Titans versus the
Is
Bills.
he really? Is that your
He
opinion?
a top 5. Chuba Hubbard top 5 back.
I think Buffalo got this one.
I say Buffalo.
Yep, Maury Cooper's in the house. Josh Allen finally got a number one to throw it to. It ain't like he was really hurt before that because they're what, 4-2?
Well, here's my thing with Amari Cooper. If he's such a number one, why does he keep getting traded?
That's a good question.
Great question.
I mean, he is still a good route runner, one of the best route runners of the league, and you still have to account for him, even though he ain't putting up the numbers he should be putting up. So, but hey, it does make the receiving room better.
I got a question for you. Why is he an older player and Cleveland got more for Amari Cooper than Dallas did?
I feel like they did that out of spite. Like, oh yeah, Dallas got rid of him for a 5th-round draft pick. We're gonna give Amari Cooper to y'all, 3 years older, and here's a couple more draft picks on top of it.
Hey, if Jerry Jones was any other team's GM, he'll be fired.
Exactly. But every team, literally, every team that is a Super Bowl contender or has been a Super Bowl contender or has been trying to make moves to get into the playoffs or whatever, every one of those teams have gone all in. Like, look at in the NFC. Just look at the NFC. You got in our division the Philadelphia Eagles. They've gone out and they've gotten A.J. Brown. They drafted Devontae Smith. They went and drafted Jalen Hurts. They went and got another couple pieces on defense. C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Drafted 43 cornerbacks this year.
Went out and got Hassan Reddick. Like, that to me is the definition of going all in. When you go and you make those draft picks and get those guys in free agency, and what do? They go play in the Super Bowl in Jalen Hurts' second year in the league. The Super Bowl. And then they arguably probably should have won.
Should have won it, yeah.
If it didn't come down to that one turnover.
Every new quarterback gets to the Super Bowl in their second year.
Joe Burrow.
Same with him. Dak Prescott.
Joe
Burrow, his same thing.
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy got there.
Patrick Mahomes.
What happened to Dak?
Mahomes got there.
Dak almost got there.
When he came in, when Romo got hurt, he came in and ran the table. Actually forced Romo into retirement because he didn't want to be the backup.
That was us.
So they won 13 games that year.
Right.
Yep, 13-3. First round.
He went off. He had a win streak of 10, 11 games in a row. We're talking about Dak. That year that when Romo was hurt and Dak came in to start. He picked up about I think 11 wins in a row. They won 13 games that year.
Right.
Yep.
Obviously no footage on him. He was 4th round pick. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So kind of caught the league by surprise.
And that team was led by the running game. They had Zeke that led the league in rushing. Dak just pretty much didn't have to turn the ball over.
Yep. But again, everybody was shocked with how well he was throwing the ball. You know what I'm saying? We're throwing out there to what's my man Dez and all of them cats.
Right.
So and they they running the table because he ran off 11 straight wins.
Mm-hmm.
It was hot. He was on fire until we got to the playoffs, and it was a wrap.
Right. Hey, look, be good. I'm gonna text you the rest of my picks, but I gotta get ready. I gotta make my marketing department up, brother.
All right, brother.
Mr. Benefield, it's always pleasure seeing you, man.
Yes, sir. You too, my brother. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All right, Miles, be easy.
All right, Trigger.
Yeah, but talking about teams going all in, you got Philly, San Fran. They already had a pretty decent running game, and what do? They go out and get Christian McCaffrey. They go out, they sign Trent Williams on the best offensive lineman in the league to say, hey, we're trying to win. What does the Detroit Lions do? 2 seasons ago, they weren't nowhere near the playoffs. And what do
about
they
to
do?
Get fired. MCDC's about to get fired.
They go draft Aiden Hutchinson. They draft Jahmyr Gibbs. They draft Jameson Williams. They draft Sam Laporta. They draft Penei Sewell on the offensive line. They go out in free agency. They get Tim Patrick. They get David Montgomery. That is going all in right there. And what do? The first year after that, they make it to the NFC Championship game. Almost after Super Bowl, probably should have been in the Super Bowl had they not dropped that game or lost that game, really, or fell apart
Dan
rather.
Campbell should not have
The
been going for it on
Niners.
fourth down so much. Take the points. Take the points.
Yep.
In the playoffs, take the points.
And maybe he learned. Maybe he's come through. But nobody has gone for more fourth downs than Dan Campbell. Like he's very risky and very much so. Like if they have the opportunity to do so, it doesn't seem to matter where they are on the field. He's gonna go for it and he's gonna get it. But Detroit is the epitome of going all in through the draft, through free agency, and look where they are. They are a juggernaut right now.
All right. So we got the Browns and the Bengals.
Bengals.
The Bengals. I mean, they're really an explanation as to why. They got issues that don't even concern football.
Right.
That's how bad they are right now.
I'm gonna go with the Bengals as well. The Texans and Green Bay. That's a solid.
That's a tough.
That's a good
That's
game.
a tough
That's gonna
one.
be a good one. That's gonna be
That's
a
a
good
tough
one.
one. That's a
Woo!
tough one.
Good thing I got multi-view.
I always want to go with Green Bay because they're playing at home, but I don't like Green Bay. You know, now I do like Jordan Love. I don't like Green Bay because of Aaron Rodgers, and you know, I'm gonna ride with the Texans on this one. On the road. Quarterback play is gonna be good.
Yeah, I think this will be one of those moments C.J. Stroud gets a signature win in a hostile environment. So yeah, I think the Texans will find a way to win this one.
I'm going with Green Bay. I don't like CJ Stroud up north in the elements because when you watch that Northwestern game before he came out, he didn't do well. And he didn't do well against New York in the elements when it gets cold. So I'm going to go with Green Bay.
But it ain't got cold yet.
Oh, it's cold. It's cold for a Cali kid. All right, the Dolphins and the Colts. I'm going with the Colts.
Colts.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco, if he's still playing, gonna throw that ball.
That's wow. This man is still in the league. It's unbelievable. But
And
yeah,
he ain't throwing it. He throwing it with. He got a string on it, man. He's putting it out there.
he's better than whatever Miami got coming out. He's better than whatever Miami has coming out under center right now. So
I wonder if Cleveland's like, well, maybe we should have kept Joe Flacco.
he was really bad in the game that they lost though.
Yeah, that
He
playoff.
was really good the first week, and then the next week he went like 4 interceptions, something like that.
Yep.
He was awful. So I think if he had played well and they were competitive, they probably would have brought him back.
We got another good one in Kansas City and San Francisco.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one, man.
It's a lot of good
bad
games
thing
on this
because
weekend.
it's in San Francisco. So, but if any team can go in there and get that win, like I said earlier, Patrick Mahomes is that dude. If the only way the 49ers, I think, win is they got to have some distance with the score. If it's close, Patrick Mahomes find a way to win them close games, man. Especially if he get that ball last, it's a wrap.
Yeah,
but I'm going for
he's beaten the 49ers twice.
I'm going with KC, man. I just don't like the 49ers. I don't like their coach.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, he's got their number. He's beaten them twice. 2 of the Super Bowl rings have come against the Niners. So there you go. I'm giving KC this win on the road. Patrick Mahomes is like y'all were just saying. You just can't go against them. Can't bet against them. You know, if the game is close, he's gonna find a way to make sure that Kansas City comes out on top. So if the 49ers can't build a big lead and they're going back and forth, that favors Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to me.
I hear y'all, but I'm going with 49.
Here you go.
No Rasheed Rice, no Isaiah Pacheco, No Hollywood Brown. You throw in the Juju and Xavier Worthy. They've shown if you can get your hands on Xavier Worthy, he's going to be ineffective. Travis Kelsey's always going to be Travis Kelsey. And I trust the 49ers defense against that. And I'm still worried about the Chiefs offense a little bit because it's not looking like the Chiefs, but they've been winning.
As long as Patrick Mahomes is
It's
understanding,
Patrick. I get it. I know, but
there's only two quarterbacks in this league since I've been watching that has done more with less than anybody else.
Cam Newton.
And it's Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes.
Cam Newton. Cam Newton went to the Super Bowl with the people that work at Walmart distribution.
Well, see,
Billy
Aaron
Brown,
Rodgers,
Jericho
how many years
Cotchery.
Aaron Rodgers go without having the strong receiver core? This man was begging for the Packers to draft a receiver, and they went years. And then they finally had a first round pick, and what did they use it on? His replacement.
He don't what he had Devontae Adams, so it was like 2 years without Devontae Adams.
Yeah, he had Devontae Adams. I give you that. But Patrick Mahomes had Travis Kelsey. But outside of those guys having those number ones, the other teams knowing that those guys are your number ones and still not being able to stop you from dealing the ball out to these other guys and getting them some shine.
Speaking of that, Trigger, Jets and the Steelers Sunday Night Football. Which, looking at all these games, we could have flexed something in the Sunday Night Football.
Well, the Steelers still got this their second Sunday Night Football game in 3 weeks. How
We
that
could have
happen?
flexed something in the Sunday Night Football, but I'm going with the Jets just because you're gonna have Devontae Adams, Cedric Wilson, Alan Lazard, Mike Williams on one side of the ball. Who are you covering? Then, if you take all them away, you still got to deal with Brees Hall and Braylon Allen and Conklin. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jets. I think they
Yeah,
get a bounce
Jets.
back.
This is an easy pick for me because again, Pittsburgh, even though they're over 500,
They
I
don't know who
still
their
don't
quarterback
think.
is.
Yeah, I'm hearing rumors that they might start Russell Wilson this
Yeah,
Sunday.
Russ is probably gonna start.
His name has
Yeah,
come up as being a potential starter. So
yeah, they said he was taking first snaps, first playing snaps in practice. So looking like they leaning towards starting him. I just don't I don't like Aaron Rodgers, man. I just don't. I give him credit, he's a quarterback. He's done some things, but I don't like it, man. Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Green Bay quarterbacks. I ain't got no love for him. So I'm gonna ride with the Steelers on this, and I just want to go against Aaron Rodgers. I'm just rooting against Aaron Rodgers.
That might be a good pick. They still got that defense.
Yeah, the defense is decent, but they're gonna struggle, putting up points. Again, we don't know who
Yeah.
the quarterback is gonna be. We're gonna see what Mike Tomlinson gonna do. So we know they're gonna compete. You ain't just fit to go in there and just run over them. And
And Sauce
I
is gonna
think
take
I think with Aaron Rodgers too, with him missing, last season, I think they still trying to get into some rhythm. You watched the game against the Bills, the Monday night game, it was a good game.
yeah.
But 41 years old now, I think that's taking its toll, having the type of injury that he had, with the Achilles and all of that. I think that stuff matters. And again, I ain't wishing nothing bad on him, health wise, nothing. I just don't like him as a player, and I want him to lose. That's all.
You said that defense, and I'm looking at Sauce on Pickens with Russ or Justin Fields trying to throw that ball. We'll see. I think the Jets win, but I got a sneaky feeling Steelers may win this game. Now thinking about it, Ravens Bucks Monday night game 1.
Ooh,
Baltimore.
I'm going with Baltimore.
Yeah, I think next to Detroit, Baltimore may be the second or third best team in all of football. I got Detroit, Kansas City, and Baltimore in the top three. Maybe not necessarily in that order, but to me, those are the three best teams in football.
It's going to be a good game because Baltimore's defense giving up a lot of points.
Yeah.
So and for whatever reason, the Buccaneers is finding a way to put up points. So they definitely been scoring. So that 51 points that they put up on the Saints. I don't know. They've been putting up numbers. With all the wins they've been getting. So ain't gonna be no fluke. Obviously the Baltimore offense is dangerous. With that combination of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, that's just gonna open some things up. But I'm on edge. I'm gonna ride with Baltimore on this one.
See, this is what scares me about Baltimore. If you can score with them, you can beat them. And just like you say with Patrick Mahomes, if you give Baker a chance at the end, Baker gonna find a way. And that's what worries me about Baltimore. Because then they go head to head with y'all and Lou, they beat you on the field goal.
They were winning.
They was up though,
largely most of the game.
Yeah,
until the fourth
and then y'all came back,
stormed back. They made the score a lot more respectable than what it was.
Yeah, that's all it was.
The final score of that game does not show how the game really went. Yeah.
And then they're beating the Raiders by 10 in the fourth quarter and lose that game to Gardner Minshew. I'm going with Baker in Tampa Bay. I'm going Baker in Tampa Bay. I just got a sneaky feeling that they're going to put up a lot more points, and Vita Vea and David and all them boys are going to stop Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry has under 150 yards rushing. I was going to say under 100 yards rushing.
Under 150? Just under 150?
I was going to say under. He got 109. He got like 170. He's got 170, I think, the last couple games. But I want to say under 100 yards, but I think Derrick Henry gets under 100 yards this game. I'm going to say it. I'm going to stand on it. Put that as my bet for the week. And then Chargers, Cardinals. I'm going to Chargers.
Yeah, Chargers. Marvin Harrison Jr. is out. And it doesn't seem like Kyler Murray even likes him anyway. He never throws the ball to him for whatever reason. So, I mean.
I think he likes being the star.
Maybe, but I'm going with the Chargers. I think.
You keep on trying to run that ball, and when the right lick get laid on him, it's going to be over.
Jim Harbaugh's back. He's trying to reestablish himself. He's trying to make Justin Herbert into somebody. J.K. Dobbins coming back off an injury. He's been looking good for them. He's one of the top 10 running backs in the league. Dallas could have used him as well. I think the only thing they're missing is another receiver, because they lost Keenan Allen, they lost Mike Williams, but they got another receiver. I think they'd be somewhat of a threat. Give somebody a run for their money. But they have enough to beat the Cardinals. So,
all right. Give me a score prediction for the game as a tiebreaker.
For the last one?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Chargers 28-21.
I'm going to say 23-20 Chargers.
23-20.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 17-14 Chargers. All right. Appreciate the raid, Ethos. Thank you, everybody, tuning in and joining from Ethos Raid. This is Strictly Sports, where we talk nothing but sports. So I'm B Wise. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah, I'm Trigger.
NCAA football. Let's get into the picks on the matchups, because this will kind of dictate Week 8 matchups. Trigger, I know you want to get into it.
Man, that's the Week 8.
Yep.
Wow, that game came up quick.
I just want to let y'all know.
I got to ride with the Bulldogs, man. I'm gonna ride with my Bulldogs.
Alabama's a bunch of frauds. Alabama. That loss to Alabama's looking worse and worse every week.
No, I think Vandy's just good, man. Vandy's a good team.
But then South Carolina almost beat them. They should have beat them.
South Carolina's a good team.
Yeah, should have beat them. They had. But look, get this now. Hey, get this. Speak of the Georgia-Bama game. Came back and took the lead.
Yep.
They're supposed to win that game. Never even should have been in that. If they came out and played the first half, wait too late. Wait till the second half to start to play. Down, what was it? 30 to what was the score at the halftime? 30-7?
7, yep.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. And then, looked up, the score was 33-30. We done took the lead, came back, took the lead.
Hey, Ryan Williams is a dog. He's a dog. I ain't never seen nobody play that smooth a game of football.
Bama wasn't supposed to win
Alabama,
that game.
Alabama, some frauds.
I don't know. Georgia. This is Texas might be the best team in the SEC after this weekend.
They might be, but I'm picking the Bulldogs as well. I think they're more desperate. They
I'm
need
riding
this
with
win
the
more than
dogs.
Texas does.
Yeah.
Given what happened to Alabama and how Alabama's looked since they beat Georgia, so I think Kirby Smart will have them ready to go. They're gonna come out with a chip on their shoulder, and they're gonna play some high level physical football and show these dudes that you're in the SEC, but you ain't really in the SEC like we've been in the SEC.
This
I
sounds like
think
me
it'll be a
picking up
wake
Bama.
up. I think it'll be a wake up game for Texas here, who's been cruising so far.
I'm gonna go with Texas, and I think they beat Georgia by 15 points, 15
What?
plus points.
You
Yeah, I
got
think
to
they
be
beat
kidding
Georgia.
me!
Y'all defense has been letting y'all down all year, and Texas ain't gonna let you back in the game like Bama did.
All year.
Arch Manning is gonna be in by the third quarter.
Hey,
Arch Manning's gonna be in by the third quarter.
look, I was surprised they gave old boy his spot back, man. I figured the way Arch Manning was playing, what was his name? Ewers was
Quinn
gonna
Ewers,
be
yep.
done. He was
Yeah,
gonna be
that's
done.
typically how that goes.
Yeah.
Guy gets hurt, the other guy comes in
I
and
was
starts
shocked.
playing well.
I
They
was
leave him in
shocked.
there.
No, they want to keep now. They trying to keep Arch on that sideline and save him for that 1 year. They're gonna have him. I'm gonna go with Tech. I think it's gonna be a bad one. It may not be, but I think it's gonna be a blowout.
Bulldogs win, bro.
I can't believe you said it's gonna be a blowout between the 1 and 5 seed.
It's gonna be.
After we
It was a
just
blowout
experienced
between
it.
y'all and Alabama. It was a.
I know. You think it's gonna happen 2 times?
I mean,
It ain't
Texas. Who else?
happening twice.
They blew out Oklahoma. They didn't blew out Michigan. they blowing out everybody. I think they didn't want all their games by 17 plus points.
It ain't happening against Georgia. There ain't gonna be no
All right.
blowout.
You got
Ain't no
Oregon at
way.
Purdue Friday night. I'm going with Oregon.
Oregon to come out the big win against Ohio State.
Yeah,
Dan
that
Lanning
was
They
a
up.
coaches.
good game.
Yep, they up right now. So
That was a
good
good game.
momentum going forward against a team they should beat regardless. So absolutely Oregon.
BYU and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has been underwhelming this year.
Honestly, don't know much about either team, but I feel like Oklahoma State will probably win just because you said that.
All right, hey,
So they're
I'm going BYU.
underwhelming. They're gonna overwhelm them this week.
I'm going BYU. I don't know much about them.
We got any other marquee matchups besides
That's what I'm looking at now.
Georgia,
You
and
got
Texas,
Alabama
Notre
and
Dame?
Tennessee.
Oh, Alabama and Tennessee, man.
Alabama, Tennessee.
Ooh,
Playing in
Tennessee,
Tennessee too. I got Tennessee winning that one.
Tennessee at
That sounds
home.
like some hate right there.
Alabama,
Call it
no,
what you
this is
want.
fact.
Call it what you want.
This is fact. Listen, listen.
Sound like some
Alabama has
hate.
not looked good the last 3 weeks.
They playing in
Last 3
Tennessee.
weeks.
It's tough to play in Tennessee, and
Ain't, ain't,
they
ain't Tennessee
get
coming
ranked
off a
this year
loss?
too. Once that crowd get into it, I'm telling you, it's going to affect Bama.
And ain't Tennessee coming off a loss?
Yeah, I think they lost last game. They was
Oh, you
upset.
think they ain't losing 2 in a row.
But you got Alabama can't lose. Alabama has to win this game. This is a must win for Alabama. Just like it's a must win for Georgia. Y'all can't lose 2 games and think y'all still going to the playoff.
But with a 12-team format, we might get in there with 2 losses.
I mean, you
Get
got
in
how
there
many
with
undefeated? Look at Army and Navy undefeated this year. You might
They
have
ain't
Army
getting in the
and
playoff.
They ain't going to the playoff. Not
Ain't no
yet.
playoff.
They're undefeated for now, but
So if Alabama loses and y'all loses, how bad does that Alabama look now going into trying to get into the playoff?
It does. It looks really bad. Like I said, they look bad since they played us. They
And
lost
then
the
Notre
game the very
Dame,
next week against a team they had no business losing to, and then they almost lost to South Carolina last week. And you think they're gonna go in there and beat Tennessee?
yeah. But
In
if
Tennessee?
Clemson winning the ACC is gonna help y'all. I think I think Tennessee offense overpowers Alabama and they lose. Actually, I'm going with Nico. Um, Nebraska and Indiana is a good game. You got Signetti from JMU out here winning. He said he just go to wake up and win football games. That's what he said. And
Hey,
then Nebraska, they got Dylan Raiola.
yeah, I like Indiana for that one.
Yep, Indiana.
I'm going Indiana. All right. Notre Dame and Georgia Tech.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Notre Dame
And
always has a program in the top 10, top 15 every year, I feel.
we got Michigan at Illinois.
I'm gonna say Illinois. Michigan ain't looking good.
Yeah, they need a quarterback.
I'm going to go with Michigan.
I tried to root for them since you got the brother coach man, but it ain't looking good,
I'm
man.
going Michigan. Yeah, they need a quarterback bad. And LSU, Arkansas.
LSU looking
Ooh,
good.
yeah,
It's gonna be a
LSU.
good game, but I think
I
LSU
feel
gonna
like
get
it's
it.
going to be, yeah, I think it's going to be a gritty matchup
I'm
as
going
well
LSU
because
too.
that tends to be how these games in the SEC go, no matter if you're ranked or not. But yeah,
Let's look. If you look at the top 25, let's say Georgia loses, they go to 5-2. You behind Miami. You're gonna be behind Alabama, LSU, Iowa State, Clemson. I don't know if you can go behind them if you beat them. If Tennessee beats Alabama, Tennessee is gonna jump. Notre Dame at 5-1. BYU at 6-0. Texas A&M at 5-1. Boise State 5-1. Indiana 6-0. Kansas State 5-1. Ole Miss, they'll probably put you right here with Ole Miss around 16, 17.
you'll drop that far.
Now look, I mean, can you be over all these other teams? I mean, I could see putting you over Clemson because you beat them, but it's a lot of good teams over here with one loss, and y'all gonna have two losses.
Well, I reckon. Kind
I
of
mean,
hard to imagine, though.
look at these teams. Look.
No, I see.
Especially if you got Indiana beating Nebraska this weekend. Let's see if Alabama or Tennessee wins, they're gonna jump up. Clemson and Virginia, you should stay right there. UCF isn't a good team. Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech on well, that win against Florida State don't look as good now. BYU, Oklahoma State. Miami's
They
kind of suspect.
they hit Georgia with a tough schedule this year, man. So
Yeah.
they're gonna beat Texas, even though they're number one right now. That's gonna shake things up. That's gonna really make it muddy across the board for a lot of these top teams. Georgia got a loss, Alabama got a loss. So yeah,
I like the fandom. That's how I feel about the Panthers. They're gonna win every game. uh, I think Miami may lose to Louisville. Louisville too, though.
Wow.
They almost lost the last two. But big shout out though to Army and Navy, both undefeated in the top 25.
yeah.
I think the first time they've been ranked in the top 25, undefeated. And up there with Michigan, who has two losses already. And we already did MLB. I mean, you can touch. You want to touch on the NBA before we head out of here?
Sure. Well, like I was saying, you already know, Miami Heat, probably the sixth or seventh best team in the East. Um, Boston, they still got their core together. They're going to be in serious contention to go back to back this year. You can't count them out. Paul George got hurt in Philly, so I don't know how
He hurt
that's going to
already.
affect things. Oh, yep,
I
yep,
think.
already.
I think
But
he
I
just
don't.
don't want to play preseason no more and practice. I think he'll be there for opening night.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know how serious the injury is, but he did get hurt.
Yeah.
But on paper, him and B Maxey, they got Caleb Martin from Miami. They have a tough team. Milwaukee's going to be back. They're going to be healthy with Dame Lillard, Giannis, that were leading the way there. Doc Rivers having a chance to have a full season to prove and see what he can do. The Indiana Pacers were got the same core. Pascal Siakam is still there. Tyrese Halliburton, those guys. Um, Orlando was up and coming, young group, made some noise in the playoffs last year. I think they were the only healthy team in the playoffs. They had all their guys. Everybody else was missing at least one key player.
Paul
Can't forget the
George,
new.
bone
Can't,
bruise, no structural damage. Will
Not to
gotcha.
be
mention the
reevaluated in
Knicks.
a week.
Yeah, I was say can't forget the New York Knicks. Just made the big trade. Carl Anthony Towns, Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, uh, in Minnesota now. Um, looks good on paper. Him, Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, um, Josh Hart. They have a nice core there in New York as well. I think that could be something that finally gets them over the hump, having a big man who can stretch the floor compared to what they had in Hartenstein and Mitchell. I think Mitchell's still there though, but he's just a defensive guy. He's not coming out and he's not another threat on offense. But they got a big man who can defend the paint and can score from outside. So that might change the whole dynamic and give them a whole nother level that you got to account for to make them that much tougher to beat in a 7-game series in the playoffs.
I don't
So
know,
that's
man.
what 5.
I don't like that move, man, with New York, man. I don't think it's going to get him over the edge because again, he didn't get it done in Minnesota. He played,
Yep.
when if he owned, but see, he ain't consistent with it. And when
Yeah,
he
and
off,
that.
he play like garbage sometimes. Be like, God Almighty, really, dude, you stinking it up out here. So, and
Yeah.
unless I will say, Coach Tibbs is, obviously defensive minded type coach. Maybe he'll rein that in a little bit. I
Mhm.
think he need, that stern type coaching to get his game to the next level because what he was doing, before he got traded, it just wasn't consistent, man. I don't, again, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it that way for him coming to New York. I think playing in New York is on another level. That's big time. That's on he on a bigger stage now. So can
That
he can he
media.
can he step up to that and handle that hype? I don't think he can do it. But
He
see if he proved me wrong.
he played with Tibbs before, so I think they got a relationship. But I agree with you. That media, it's not gonna be Minnesota media that
Yeah,
you can go disappear for 5, 6 games. You gonna have to play
they
every
gonna
night
eat him.
when you
They
go
gonna
there.
eat him up. He
Yep.
got to come with it. He got to come with it. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna sit back and watch and see how that one unfolds.
Yeah, that was my only thing with Carl Anthony Towns. Like, yes, everything it looks good on paper, but I worry about his consistency because we
Yep.
saw that in the playoffs with Minnesota. Like he had really good games, and then he had games where he disappeared.
Yep.
So you got to worry about that. And then the other thing, the media obviously, how's he going to be able to deal with that? Like we heard guys in the league say that he has this soft personality. He's very much in his feelings about stuff. How is he going to be able to handle that when that New York media comes after him? So those would be the two concerns. Those would be the two concerns I would have about him going forward with New York. Showing up, being consistent, and then dealing with the media. Is he cut out for that? So I think both teams got some solid pieces in the deal. I think New York got something that they haven't had, and I also think that Minnesota's got something that they haven't had in a while. Um, Obviously, you worry about Julius Randle's health, but they got a shooting Dante DiVincenzo who can, you got to account for when he comes out there, can knock down threes. And then Julius Randle, when he gets going, he can be a problem. Mix that in with what Ant Man's doing. Rudy Gobert's not going to give you much on offense, but you still got him defending the paint. But I think now with Karl Anthony Towns being in New York, that opens the door for Nas Reed to come off the bench in Minnesota and do his thing. I felt that in a lot of ways that Nas Reed was a more impactful player than Karl Anthony Towns was in the playoffs last year. When Karl Anthony Towns had those games where he disappeared and it wasn't really a factor, I feel like Nas Reed was coming in off the bench and he was hitting, shots from outside and making some big plays to help impact the game for the team. So he now has, in my opinion, more opportunities to come out there and do that and maybe even be a starter, depending on how they want to do their lineup. So it opens the door for him to get more opportunities. And I think that Minnesota's in a good spot with the pieces that they got. I think New York is in a good spot with what they have And it'll be interesting to see if it all works out for both teams.
Yeah,
I
I
was
think
listening to
Minnesota
some.
got the better of the deal.
Yeah, and that's what I was listening to too. They're saying with Minnesota is Ant's gonna have to learn how to play with everybody and not. You may have to sacrifice a little bit to go farther. You gotta. It may not be 30 points. It may be 25 points or 22 points, and then let everybody else eat and get theirs going.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
got to learn how to learn how to dominate the game when it's
Yeah.
time to dominate. Take
Hmm.
over when you need to. Be that guy. He need to continue to improve his game. Obviously, we know he can play above the rim. That's not going to always be there. They're going to look to take that drive away. You need to be consistent.
Yeah.
Shooting that jump shot. Develop that mid range game, and then add that to your arsenal. And then again, not to say sit back and wait, but let others, be involved. You know what I'm saying? To help take the pressure off you. And then be like, hey, we got to be defending all of these cats out here versus him trying to, be the dominant guy, taking the shots, forcing the issue and all that type of stuff. It's gonna take away from the team. And then now you become, I won't say one dimensional, but become easier to guard. Then, your teammates gonna become frustrated, with that as well. So he's gonna have to learn how to play in spots, dominate, take over the game. When sometimes he might need to come out and set the tone. Sometimes he might have to wait, but he's got to figure that out. So they got some interesting pieces, man. I think they got the better of the deal as far as the trade is concerned, and it's going to be interesting to see how the New York trade played out with the big cat, playing in the Garden. That's going to be different.
I think a move that people sleeping on right now, and this is where I'm gonna go into my finals pick. I think Russell Westbrook is gonna be big in Denver. I think it's bigger than people think it's gonna be, and I think it's gonna provide attitude and just even more for that team. So I'm going for Denver out of the West, and I'm going Miami out of the East.
oh my gosh.
Going Miami out of the East. I believe in the rookie.
Woo! Mhm.
No, let me take that Miami pick back. Actually,
Hey,
I
thank
thought
you.
about what they got to go. You got to go through. You got Dame and Giannis. You
Trey,
got
that's your team. You ain't picking Miami to come out these. You know better.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I don't think the
I
Celtics
just
gonna come
said,
out the East.
how did I start off this segment? I said Miami is the seventh best team in the
Yeah, you
East.
did. You did. But
But
you,
they
but
always
you,
that, and they
you're
go
a
to the
fan.
finals.
Miami just ain't got enough, man. They got enough to give you a run for your money and to frustrate you and to make you play more games in the series than you probably should, tire you out a little bit more. But they're not winning anything.
Yeah,
You
you
just don't
play
have
Indiana,
enough guys,
Milwaukee,
man. It's the same thing
Milwaukee.
every year. Those 2 years that we went to the finals, what happened to them? They ran out of gas. They didn't
I'm a
have that
ride with.
extra. They didn't have that extra
I'm gonna go with the
somebody
Knicks
that
getting to the
that
finals.
third player. They didn't have that third player on Miami's roster that could come and take pressure off of Jimmy Butler.
I
These
think the
guys
rookie this
can't
year,
shoot.
trigger is going
Outside of
where.
Tyler Hero, we don't have any knockdown shooters on this roster. They
Duncan
were
Robinson.
one of the worst teams in basketball the last 2 years from 3-point range. Not good. The only win they got in the playoffs last year in that one game against Boston, they had to set a record for made 3-pointers in a game to get that one win. And I was like,
Uh,
well, they got to do that 3 more times to win the series, and they didn't even come close.
I gotta change my West pick too because you just reminded me. I forgot Clay went to Dallas.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna matter.
I
I,
don't think it's
You
going
don't
to
think
matter.
so, Clay in Dallas?
I think I don't. Again, unless he got some serious overhaul or rebuild during the off season. From a mental perspective, what I'm saying. His game
Yeah.
has started to decline. He ain't what he used to be. I know he don't want to accept that. I think if he do accept, and kind of come in and play, I won't say a lesser role, but be that veteran, what I'm saying, voice, get what you can get, maybe. But I think now he does seem like he got a little chip on his shoulder. Maybe that might help him to some degree, but I don't know. Just I got to see that one play out. I'm not picking Dallas to come out of the West. They made a nice little run. I don't see it happening this year. For the West, I'm gonna go with a sleeper team, man. I'm gonna go with what's that young team, man? Oklahoma City. I'm gonna go with
OKC.
SGA
OKC.
and they're young. You know, I'm gonna ride with OKC for my West pick, and for the East, I'm gonna stick with Boston for right now. And my reason for that is um I think my man gonna have a chip on his shoulder, you know, based off of what happened with the Olympic stuff and not winning the MVP for the finals. I think he felt some kind of way about that, you know, although he tried to
Tatum.
stick with Jaylen Brown for winning it, you know, and truly, truth be told, Jaylen Brown was that guy. He was the difference maker. You know, he deserved to be the MVP for Boston. But I think what's the man name I'm talking about?
Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum.
Tatum. There you go. I think Tatum, man, gonna try to play on another level this year. I think he got something to prove because I think him not getting that MVP for the finals, you know, kind of, you know, made him a little salty. And then, you know, think about the pieces that they got. Big boy gonna be healthy.
Porzingis.
Yeah, if Porzingis is healthy, man, you know, again, you're talking about stretching the floor. You know, he can
Drew
defend.
Holiday.
Oh
Defend the
man,
rim.
that Drew Holiday goes without saying, man. Underrated player.
That was
You
a
know,
big signing for
Oh
them.
gosh. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That was a big signing for them, Drew
yeah,
Holiday.
yeah. So
Like
I'm
they
I'm I'm
traded
I'm gonna
Marcus
say
Smart and didn't miss a beat.
I'm gonna go with because I don't know what Philly's gonna do. You know what I'm saying with the Paul George move.
Yeah.
I think the Bucks, you know, got some, you know, like they're missing a player. You know, even though if Giannis is healthy, I don't know. You know, with him and Dame,
Ooh.
they need another
Oh, you must have just
player.
saw what I just saw.
What you saw? What I missed?
Sabrina Ionescu hit a deep three.
Great day.
What's the series in that now?
2-1.
1-1.
It's
One
2-1 now.
apiece?
About to be 2-1 now, New York.
Yeah, I'm
I
surprised New
mean,
York
she
lost that
pulled that
first game.
from deep.
Yeah. She poured it from about almost the logo,
She
WNBA
was
logo.
from that deep.
That's that Kobe. That Kobe came out right there.
Yeah, she got game. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Boston, man, for my pick out of the East and OKC out of the West.
And I agree with you too. I think even Jaylen Brown's gonna have a little bit of a chip being snubbed from the Olympic team too. You saw Derek
Yes.
White go, you saw Jason Tatum go, you saw Drew Holiday go, and you didn't go. I think that whole team gonna have a little bit of a chip. But okay, I had to change my West pick too. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough now. You think about it. So OKC versus Boston. I like that. Josh Giddey, I think it's gonna be a bigger addition than people say. Um, I don't know. Some tell me LeBron. I can't go against LeBron and AD too, but I don't know. I see Clay coming more into that Ray Allen role, but I think you're all right. Clay, his mentor ain't gonna let him be that. Just come in, knock down some big shots when they need it, and let Luka and Kyrie play.
Yep.
I'm
Them
gonna go with
bigs
the
are pretty
Knicks.
decent too.
Defend. Can Clay defend?
That's
See
true
what I'm
too.
saying? He ain't the same defensive player that he once was either. So he's definitely having a declining moment.
I'm gonna go with the Knicks out of the East.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Boston. I still think they're the best team. They weren't even fully healthy and they still won the championship. So
That is
and
true too.
like Pops was saying about Jason Tatum having the chip on his shoulder, I think that's gonna play a role in him elevating his game and going to another level this year and showing everybody that he is the best player on that team and the reason why that team has as much success as they do. So I think all those reasons with Boston getting healthy, with Jason Tatum being in his feelings and wanting to prove people wrong, you know, coming off the title win, having their whole team still intact, they have every reason to go out and do it again. So I think Boston still is the best team in the East, despite the moves that the Knicks and the Sixers made in getting Karl Anthony Towns and Paul George respectively.
And so who you got Boston going against?
In the finals of the
Yeah.
West,
Because like you said, uh, I didn't got talked into it the same as your pop said. Oklahoma City versus Boston. I see SGA versus Jason Tatum for the face of the league for the next 10 years. Jason Tatum's gonna come out, dominate, and take over the league, and he's the safe face, the father, the championships, the gold medal, take over for the next 10, 15 years, take it over from LeBron and Steph. And but then you got KD in them. If KD and them can stay healthy,
no, 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 no,
they don't got no
no,
bench though. They don't
no.
have a bench.
They got no bench. They got no point guard. Nope, not working.
Devin Booker, a point guard.
All show. Nope, nope. All show.
But I say
All
that to
show.
say because of
Bradley Bill became a shell of himself. Nope.
but
He looks good on paper, but no.
the West is old. The West is
They'll
old.
win. They'll win some games. KD and them should make the playoffs. That's about it. First
Yeah,
round, they gone.
first round
First
exit.
round, they
Maybe
gone.
they'll get to the second round, but nothing further than that.
Yep,
OKC getting past Minnesota.
that's gonna be a good one.
Yeah,
But
it's gonna be a tough matchup, but
yeah,
they're definitely capable. I think the reason why I can't commit to OKC yet is I feel like they're missing like a veteran presence on that team. Like they got a bunch of young guys who can ball, who can play, who can go out and absolutely win a series against anybody. But I feel like for them to go all the way, they're missing like some veteran players, some veteran leadership, somebody to come in and kind of keep them together. That's been there, that's done it, that can kind of prepare them. I think that's the only thing. If I had to pick something about OKC, why I can't um, say that, yeah, I'm picking them to come out the West.
They got Hardenstein too. I forgot they got Hardenstein. They got Caruso now. They got Chet. They got Topic, Jalen Williams, SGA. I
got a
don't know,
nice
Trigger.
squad, man. They got a nice squad, and
Yeah,
they
they got a
yep,
bunch of guys who just
they
don't have
young,
a lot
but
of experience.
they did make they made a little playoff run. That's gonna help them this year. You know what I'm saying, from an experience standpoint. I agree with you about the veteran presence, but I think I'm gonna just go out just looking at how the West is set up right now. Um, the Denver pick is not a bad pick. With the addition of Westbrook, but I got to see how that's gonna play out. I ain't putting a lot of stock into that one. I think Denver, not Denver, Dallas, shocked some folks last year with their little run they made. I don't see that happening this year. Lakers, health has always been an issue. 80 for somewhere is gonna go down. LeBron is, about 50 years old. He can't do so much. So I ain't giving the Lakers a shot. And then, really when it comes down to it, I think the teams that are left standing really is the young guys, Minnesota, OKC, what I'm saying, gonna be the guys, what I'm saying. So I'm going out on the edge to say I'm gonna go with OKC as my sleeper coming out of the West. I like the game SGA, man. I like how he play, man. That guy, he play effortless.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think he only get better.
I think I'm gonna go with Denver. They're obvious choice, and I just feel like they are. They still got their core together like the Celtics do, and they added Westbrook. I think he's gonna be big coming off the bench. And obviously you got Jokic, you got Murray. That duo, they're gonna do what they do, and they got a good culture there. Mike Malone is one of those coaches that he ain't afraid to speak his mind and say things, and give other teams bulletin board material, and still go in there and beat them. So, um, yeah, I think Denver has a best all around team. They got the championship experience. They've won the title here recently, and I think they're looking to add on to that.
Trey saying Denver versus Boston.
Denver and Boston in the finals. The Lakers and the Heat gonna be play-in teams again this year, and they might not even make the playoffs.
I'm gonna make my West pick next week. I got Boston. Y'all talk me into Boston, but the West that's tough. The West is tough.
I feel like it's really like
I think your top 3 teams in the West is going to be, Denver, Minnesota, and OKC.
Yeah.
Dallas going to be in the mix. They'll be in the mix. But, for them to make the run that they made last year, I don't see that happen.
Does DeMar add anything to Sacramento?
Oh, I forgot about Sacramento.
Does DeMar add anything to Sacramento? Young. Aaron Fox is in the contract year, and Rich Paul trying to get him that max.
Yeah,
so
he
first
definitely.
team All NBA.
Yeah, he definitely
You know
made
who else we forgot about?
Who you got?
Who that?
What's the young cat name that got suspended for the gun?
Ja Morant. The Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Zach Edey balling too. Zach Edey.
Yeah, they did
Smart.
draft Zach Edey. I wanted Miami to draft him.
Hey, Zach Edey looking good.
But I'm not mad at the guy they did draft, though. We needed a big man.
Yeah,
they did
I like
draft
Ware.
a big man. So, but yeah, I forgot about them. Yeah, they'll be tough. I still feel like Memphis is not as complete as OKC and Minnesota, though.
So you talking about Denver, Minnesota, OKC,
And then
Dallas,
Sacramento,
Memphis, Sacramento, the Lakers,
DeMar
Phoenix.
DeRozan makes them better, but my only issue with DeRozan is in the postseason, he doesn't seem to have like the killer instinct to go out there and like. Yeah, because we seen how he was in Toronto. Those years they went up against Cleveland. Like, I'm about going up against LeBron or whatever did something to him, and now he's in the same division as LeBron out west. Lakers, Clippers, Warriors, Suns, and the Kings all in the same division. So he's playing the Lakers 4 times a year. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe times have changed. Didn't really do a whole lot in Chicago because Chicago wasn't really a playoff team his entire tenure there. So I don't know. Like, he's been a great player individually. I just don't think he knows how to lead a team or be the guy on a team, on a contending team.
You want to hear sneaky 30 wins that I got 14? San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, 30 wins is doable for them.
Absolutely.
If Chris Paul can stay healthy most of the season too, with him and him doing the live City of the South with Victor, I think.
Yeah, Chris Paul's got this thing where every team he ends up on, they somehow end up in the playoffs, no matter who's on the roster. So I don't put it past him.
And Pop. And he got Pop.
Yeah, Greg Popovich, one of the best coaches in the game. Absolutely.
And then New Orleans. What is New Orleans going to be? Zion looking in shape, looking back.
I expect much more of the same for them. Kind of make the playoff, bounce in the first round.
I thought they were going to trade for somebody. I thought they were trying. Somebody was getting ready to trade for somebody.
Who's that?
They opened up a roster spot.
Like, that's an all-time shot. Sabrina's bucket, like, that's a game winner. Think about that.
I thought somebody just got traded.
And it's from the logo.
We talking about?
In the NBA, somebody just got the Kings. They traded Jalen McDaniels in draft consideration to San Antonio in exchange for draft considerations. So they are keeping a draft spot open.
Try and use a screen. I thought the ghost screen was going to lead to something else, or it was going to be a
in case they want to make a move for somebody. So Sacramento may be looking to make a move for somebody else.
Raymond tried to get fouled. I was way wrong.
Interesting.
So they just wanted to have that open roster spot. What? It's been a good one. 2 hours and 18 minutes. We ain't done a 2-hour one in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Seahawks plays for Sean Jenkins on IR. Starting safety has a hand injury.
Little things in this great game that we love so much.
So let's get y'all final thoughts, gentlemen.
We will be talking about, especially if the Liberty go on.
Yeah. Go Yankees. Up 2-0 right now. Best of 7. ALCS. About to hit the road here tomorrow. for Game 3. I think Clark Smith is on the mound. He's been one of the better pitchers on the roster this year. So I'm feeling pretty good about our chances with him starting us off. Hopefully the bats continue to stay hot. Aaron Judge comes to life. And these guys can score some runs and keep Cleveland from scoring too many runs. So I feel like the Yankees, the way they play, if they can come out and they have good pitching and they get an early lead, they tend to win a lot of games when they do that. When they get behind and the starting pitching is shaky, they tend to not recover as well. So that's been the formula for success for us, not only in the playoffs, but for the entire season. Now, we've had some great comeback wins during the season because it just happens. 162 games is a lot of games. It's going to happen. But the Yankees play their best ball when they're ahead and their pitching, the starting pitching is doing well. So go Yankees. Don't have much hope left for the Cowboys for this season at least. And then the Miami Heat, they've been pretty good in the preseason. They just beat the Atlanta Hawks. But preseason's preseason, so don't really carry over into the regular season. Hopefully Jimmy Butler can stay healthy enough this year to play in most of the games. And we'll see what happens.
We're less than a week away, so.
Yep, NBA season about to tip off, so I'm a fan. I want the season to be good. It sounds like it definitely could be interesting, with a lot of these teams, revamping and making some of the moves that they're making. So
the East is stacked this year.
Yep. So as far as baseball, I root against the Yankees just so I can root against Trey. I ain't a Yankees fan, Jeter's long gone, so I'm gonna ride with the Dodgers on this. I think the Dodgers, get past the Mets, and it'll make for probably a record-breaking World Series as far as viewership. If the Dodgers and the Yankees,
Man, them World Series tickets gonna go crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be off the chain. Two good teams. You know what I'm saying? Can't deny what type of talent that the Yankees got. But you can't deny what the Dodgers got either. They got a good squad over there too as well. I'm still mad that we let Freddie Freeman get away from the Braves, to go out to the Dodgers. So, but I'm rooting for the Dodgers on this one to win the World Series just so the Yankees don't win. Ooh, and for my Cowboys, let us
Yankees
pray.
are due.
Yeah, for the Cowboys, let us pray. Amen. Amen.
All we can do.
Yep.
I must say, congratulations to Lonzo Ball, about to have his first game back in 2 years. So excited to see where he is. I got the Dodgers beating the Yankees in the World Series too. Both over $350 million payrolls. And Carolina Panthers getting their second win of the season this weekend against the Commodores. So
Commodores.
Hey, I'm rooting for y'all. I'm rooting for y'all this week. I'm rooting for the Panthers on this one this week. I need y'all to beat Washington, man, just to keep things interesting in the NFC East.
We need this win so we can beat Washington. We go next week and we beat Bo Nix. That's gonna start our run, and we'll be there.
Oh, you'll run to the first round draft pick.
I'll run to the playoffs. Hey, NFC is gonna be a dog fight this year. I told you. I said 9 wins is gonna get you in the NFC this year. 9 wins is gonna get you in the NFC in a couple spots. Minnesota gonna lose 4 games sometime, so we'll see. But I'm be wise.
Trigger.
And I'm Lamar, the special guest, man. Again, it's an honor and a privilege to spend the night with y'all to do this podcast. So appreciate y'all having me on. I had a lot of fun listening to all the different takes, man, throughout the world of sports.
Well, we appreciate you coming anytime. Thank you.
Yeah.
I got attacked by Cowboys fans tonight, but it's okay. We had an hour of Cowboys talk.
Yeah,
So-
whole hour Cowboys talk, man. You know, look, that's why I put my hat on. I'm still riding with them. You know, I guess I'm a delusional fan, but hey, I keep it real though. I tell it like it is. Right now they suck, so I ain't got no expectations. Oh, you got the Yankee hat on.
Yeah, my wife. Well, my wife said this stands for New York City, and that's why she got it because it's a New York City hat.
She don't watch sports.
She don't. She in New York right now. So, thank y'all. Until next time.
All right, peace.